Sir, we've decided not to move the United States, okay?
Sir, we land on the moon to go to Mars, and that's what we're doing with the moon.
Sir, we don't want money.
Sir, we're looking for land. Sir, steam is better.
Hello, sirs and madams. It's your buddy Admiral Teag. It's good to see all of you out there. I am joined by my friends JT Kirk, Resolute Germ, and Sean Carter. It's good to see everybody. Hello, sirs. We are approaching familiar territory. We're about to go where every single Star Trek show has gone before. And I want to tell you, a channel is a team. It reviews, watches, and relates to its community as a team. And we are probably the most prepared. It makes, you know what? I'm not just proud. I am like really excited. We have what? 115 reviews and 130 reviews, and 120 of them are Star Trek or New Trek. 98 are Enterprise, so most of them are Star Trek. No team has ever gone in to the original series as prepared as this team. I think that a lot of people are not hitting their stride until the best episodes are over. If we were making mistakes and not hitting our stride during Enterprise, do apologize for it. And you know what? Someone's here. We're going to have to, you know what? I'm going to beam him right to the brig, and then I'll beam him to the bridge. You know what? It's been a real pleasure reviewing Enterprise with my friends. We have our review format down. We probably will from time to time revisit the NX-01. I don't think we'll ever fully move on. And you never forget your first command. I think in a lot of ways as a YouTuber, I'm the captain of the NX-01. But now we're going to fast forward 80 years. We're going to go to a weird place. I did some checking. I have often called this a proof of concept. It's not a proof of concept. Here was the stakes. They were offered 3 pilots or 4. They were offered 4 ideas. They picked the idea. They loved most of it, but they didn't like the cast. They also were like, "What are you making like a bad sound like mix? Are you here to annoy us with horrible noises? Like you got to get the Foley art together. The unit like things aren't totally there yet. Here's a bunch of money. Build another set." Like rework your old set and do some stuff. And Gene Roddenberry, like to his credit, like instead of being a modern writer and throwing a fit and going on Instagram and screaming, he was like, you know, I've been working with this guy named William Shatner. I think might be a better match. And they're like, we like that already because, you know, there was something weird about Hunter. Like, we don't want a show where the main character shows up, says he hates the show, says he doesn't want to be on the show. And then we spend the whole show where the only reason he sticks around is for a lot of sex because what he really wants to do is like traffic people. Okay, that didn't work for us, Gene. And he's like, well, I mean, like that's kind of what I fantasize about at night. And like, dude, all of us. But you know what? Like, you can't have a harem of women. You can't live in a cage. Like, it's not the greatest idea. We love the idea of the ship. We love what you did. We love the transporter. We love the ideas. We love this concept is awesome. We realized we bought this movie. We're not going to use it. Make another pilot. So we know that they made 3. We know of 3 pilots. So I guess the other 2 ideas, the ones that they passed on this one for, there's a third one that we don't know, but 2 of them I guess would be Where No Man Has Gone Before, right? That's obvious. And I guess the other one would be Omega Glory.
Beep, beep.
No.
Beep.
Yes. What's the other pilot? What were the other ideas? Do you know?
Beep, beep, beep.
No. Yes. No. Maybe. Is that maybe? By the way, after watching Strange New World, is anybody out there confused by is anybody out there have any questions why Captain Pike chose to go down and nerf his tech? Remember, Stephen Hawking's wheelchair does more. Pike was like, They're like, sir, members of your old crew will be certainly coming to see you. And he's like, Spock is coming. They're like, we have 2 wheelchairs. One just says yes and no, and one is fully conversation. He's like, which one do you want? It's just like points to the one that only says yes or no. It's like, sir, that model's 100 years old. It can only say yes or no. You really do you really want that one? And like, he was just like,
Well, you
like
see,
presses the
Admiral,
button, like, boop.
George Lucas saw Star Trek and saw the Pike chair, and he's like, I want to do that to my villain, and thus Darth Vader was born.
There might be something to that, but I think they saw Davros didn't have one yet, but I think they saw maybe the Daleks. Or did Davros show up? Davros is ripped off from Pike, but Pike's chair is possibly designed, aesthetic influenced by the Daleks. There was never supposed to be anything in there. That's a much later Dalek story, I believe, where there's like a brain in there. The Scarrow story is much later on. Right? The Daleks appear before Star Trek, though, in like the weird Doctor Who movie. Is it not the deal?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I can't even remember.
But that chair reminds me of a Dalek more than anything else. It's like 2/3 of a Dalek, like up to his chest level. But after we've met his new crew, I think everybody out there, and we'll be saying hello in a moment. It's good to see everybody. Everybody out there knows exactly why Captain Pike wanted limited conversational ability. Could you imagine? What it was like when Ortegas came in and he's like, ha, now she doesn't have anything to fucking snark at me for. What did she do? Just look at him for an hour. And then like after like the hour went by, she was like, did you get the chair to boop? Please. Because that's how Kurtzman would write it. And we were talking about this before the show, guys. There is the possibility of a new Trek show in here that we would love. It's not the one Alex Kurtzman made. We decided that the adventures and life of the freaky ass Birdman in the menagerie would be the Alex Kurtzman project most worthy of development. So say we all, right? Life of the freaky ass Birdman by Alex Kurtzman.
Cockman.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael Keaton will not be playing the freaky ass Birdman. The freaky ass Birdman is played by the Mugatu, and they were being so economical on this one. They recycled the lead Telosian into Commodore Mendez. They didn't want to send people 2 residual checks.
No, I'll still
The only reason I could figure it out.
maintain the best Birdman is Buck Rogers season 2, and even then, it was not good. It was just not good.
That's because Tom Christopher's best acting was as Scarecrow on the show One Life to Live, where he played a double-crossing mafioso who got amnesia and became his own good twin until he turned back and killed his wife, Alex, before One Life to Live merged with General Hospital back when I was in college and used to watch TV in the commuter lounge. The girls liked General Hospital. I would just sit there and watch that shit with my mouth shut and look at them. And I picked up a lot of stuff. That's a tip, guys. Just shut up and watch what they want once in a while, and they'll let you get away with watching Star Trek.
Now, Admiral, since you proclaim to know a lot about the fair variety, is this image from the special edition?
This image is my upscale. I had to upscale it, but it is from the special edition, which is slightly upscaled. It looks so much. The original series looks so much fucking better than Deep Space Nine.
Oh, she has more hair on her arm than I do. I'm just.
She does have some peach fuzz, but I think it's real. What are you gonna do? That she wasn't about to, she was a blonde in real life. You probably only notice it here because it's green. You know what I mean? Like probably wasn't an issue. But here we have what purports to be the first Star Trek story. Listen to this.
Admiral, before we get too far, we do have 2 super chats. There was one that came in before the show started.
You know what? Let me get to the super chats first, and I'll greet everyone. Sigvaldeson says, "Pop culture is dead. All we are left with are memories. Star Trek will never be as it once was. Shame the Orville couldn't get renewed either." Is that what happened? Well, Sig, when you say this, I feel that as commander of this fleet, it's my job more than anything else to provide the people, and thank you, by the way, for the 5 Greenlandian greenbacks, the people who have chosen to be part of this show. You deserve to hear something different than the same thing you hear all day. We usually come on at night Everyone's got Disney well covered. We cover Paramount Plus. Everyone's got the death of Star Trek covered 3 years ago and giving up on it. We have picked up this torch and carried it through what I would say has been the darkest 2 years. We only found the light at the end of the tunnel by risking getting hit by train after train after train after train. If you stick with us, I'm not saying it's going to be great because we don't know, but the chances of the new Star Trek being very much worthwhile and very much worth watching because they're launching it off Enterprise are actually very high. I think Michael Sussman, with 70 production credits on those 98 episodes of Enterprise, proved that he could do it. We have hope in the future. Pop culture is dead, but you know what? We can resurrect it through the miracle of Star Trek licensing. If we go back to the original licensing, all the Kurtzman Trek goes away, and we're suffering through the Kurtzman Trek. We're suffering through the Kurtzman Trek so that he doesn't have retroactive rights. Go ahead, Sean.
We may find out later this month that there's going to be something new at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh,
is it going to be a Star Trek United or the Star Trek movie that they're
one or the other? I have a feeling they're going to talk about the movie.
I think it's the movie. I don't think they're ready or sure on United. I don't think they're sure. I think they like it. I think that we, the fans, have dropped the ball by not supporting it enough. I have done everything I can. I have spent 2 years whipping it up for Star Trek Enterprise. I think it is the second best Star Trek show, hands down. There are episodes of Deep Space Nine that are a lot better than the best episode of Enterprise. There are episodes of Deep Space Nine that are also a lot worse than the worst episode of Enterprise.
Well,
Carpenter shoots a lot better than a lot of the times we shipped Kira. Go ahead, JT.
You've also had other outlets out there trying to basically flood the zone with fake Star Trek announcements, like those Collider articles, where it's like Worf to get a new series. And then you have to look 8 paragraphs down, and it's a fucking series. Comic book. Yeah.
Like Star Trek finally solved the 40-year-old mystery in a non-binding, non-canonical comic that's about to be wiped away. Yeah. By the way,
Admiral Teag, incoming super chat.
I got to get the super chat too. Thank you, Sigvaldison. You are the man. Radioactive, who has joined us here and should be beamed on at this moment because I was so mean. He had to pay to get out of the basement. I fucked up. Guys, you got to remind me when I leave Radioactive in the brig. No ice cream for you, Radioactive. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I learned my lesson in the agonizer booth.
That was 2 weeks ago. It's great to see you. You have had the best insight into why Spock smiles and stuff. You're here for your analysis and your humor. And because, hey, we missed you. You weren't around for the Taylor Sheridan. We took a different approach this year. And we went with me and Germ doing it on Rumble and making like 3 selected uploads. I'm editing the last one now. Fast talking Motormouth Germ is something that no one will ever get used to. I think the most dismayed person is usually Germ.
It's a miracle of editing you achieved with that.
If you talk that fast all the time, I wouldn't have to do it. All right. Well, I want to thank Radioactive for the $2 super chat. He says, handy, capable Pike was tech retro. I wouldn't want to talk that much to them either. I bet you he also had just like they cut like a line. If it was made today, it'd be like, the wheelchair works off his brainwaves, Jim. He can turn it and he can turn off his sound so he doesn't have to listen to people, but he can't do anything else. It's like, Captain, should we sit you in front of Prawn Hub all day? Boop. For some reason, he's been less unhappy, we think. His mind seems at ease. You know what? Something I realized, I don't think we invented it yet. You know what would have made this scene? I don't know. What would have been more dramatic and had we invented it? Spock walks in on Pike in one of the only manual doors we've ever seen in this show. And he doesn't walk up and say, my mind to your mind, because that would have made it very simple. Instead, was it for us, or I don't think we've invented it yet by episode 13 and 14. No
invented what?
Yet, right? The mind meld. If Spock walked into Pike and just said, my mind to your mind, and like, Captain, may I meld with you? He would have said yes, and then they would have we would have seen what his plan was in a different way. But my question is, were they holding off on the mind meld? Had we seen it, which proves they held off on it? Was it for the purposes of exposition that Pike beeps, or was it the mind meld? Do we have no mind meld?
I think they probably
didn't have it.
I wonder if I'd be interested in reading the Bible that Roddenberry wrote for, how did he establish the Spock character? Maybe that was always something that was going to be part of his character, and they just didn't show it until later in the season.
I think the first time we see it is with the Horda, right?
I forget.
Joining of the minds. Grok will tell us. Grok, tell me about Spock.
Oh.
Episode
Admiral 9.
Teag, incoming super chat.
They'd already done it.
Radioactive.
Thank you.
No, there's one from Welshie.
We got hey Welshie, welcome. Remember, CCP WEF Kurtzman Soy Track was apostasy by CCP, Chinese Communist Party, right? You're not 1C short.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, I should read it correctly. Sir, remember, CCP WEF Kurtzman Soy Track is apostasy, sir. Sir, you're right. I agree. I think it's garbage. We saw what would happen if they had gone further off the show. Now, no one is as off the rails as Kurtzman. It wouldn't have been that bad. But we did see that they didn't have they didn't exactly build on stone. Here's exactly what happened. NBC picked the story.
It was
NBC
Dagger of the Mind, by the way, Admiral.
Was the other pilot?
No, the first mind meld was Dagger of the Mind.
It was episode 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Simon Wenzelberg.
They're doing that involuntary questioning.
Van Gelder.
Simon Van Gelder. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Van Gelder's the first mind meld. Thank you. All right. You know what? All I know is we were a little bit harsh in TNG about several things, but in TOS we go much easier on them. In this one, it's sort of metaphoric of reality TV, and it's sort of metaphoric of, I saw the Truman Show in there first. I would say Star Trek did it first with both on this one. But I think that, these days we would have gotten even 20 years later, I could just see Picard, like the indignation from Pike comes across right. But I could just see Picard, he would have been we can't end this. Peace 2 would be we can't end the episode without me lecturing them. And they're like, oh, God. All right. Yeah, you can be professorial, sir. He's like, I shan't be fodder for your emotional needs on your HoloNet. It's something stupid like that where he would have had to make a Picard speech. It was the one thing that this had going for it was I liked the driven manliness of Pike, but let's say hi to our fans, and then I'll say hello to our panel, and then we'll jump into this review. It is really something. Everybody's here, and we're ready to go. Let's see who made it to the show. Guys, it's great. Welcome to the show. It's good to see everyone. As you know what, I dive into the chats on the YouTube side where I can get a better look at them. It's a little bit of a delay when I do it here. So let me say hello to Sig Volison, RRTNZ, Radioactive Actual, RJ Godzilla, Gavin Unit 1, hey Blackie, what's up, man? JT Kirk, Sean Carter, Buddy Hepburn, the Trek Reviewer, Lombardi 1969, John the Beagle Dad, Mark Harkness, Resolute German, Kyle Cullen, my good friend who made it here in person, usually listens on the rewind. It's great to see Kyle. Good to see you all. I love you all. And, before we go forward, just real quick, if I could have one thing in the cage at Talos, and maybe this will be a question at the end, but could I get one more Ozzy show? 1 year ago today, the final Black Sabbath concert. Very moving experience for me. I was upset about that, thinking about it today. So, all my fellow Ozzy and Black Sabbath fans, I'm thinking of you too. And what was sucked was in the music mix, the Glenn Hughes Black Sabbath came on, and I had to listen to the Black Sabbath power ballad that they tried to do to make money in the 80s. Just skip No Stranger to Love. It sucks.
Admiral, I think the more pressing issue, with all due respect, we need to have you go and have a vision on Telos, and it's going to be you start hearing the Top Gun music, the theme music, and you're looking at a Ford class aircraft carrier, and instead of weird strange magnets, you just see the smoke of steam, the vapor of steam rolling off the flight deck. And you just see one launch, F-35 launch off that Ford class carrier with a steam catapult. I think that's really what the Telosians need to help us with right now.
And then when I land on the Ford and get off and I say, great steam catapult, they say, two-termer Gerald R. Ford deserved it, sir. Because that was
the best Michigan president we've ever had. Yeah.
I think he's the only, but George Custer George Custer would have been. When he died, he was the most photographed man of his time for like the next 10 years. It took that long for someone else to catch up to him. All right. So hello to all. I think I caught everybody. And hello to my panel. Guys, how are you guys doing this week before we jump into this one? Anybody got any good stories? Hear any good jokes? What's going on, fellas?
Well, I'll go ahead, JT.
I was just going to say I was going to answer that and say I was doing well until I read Buddy Hepburn's last post about Captain Pike going to have a Green Ladies something party over there on Telos.
You know what? I just realized I should read the super chat. I disagree with judging whether a show is Star Trek or not unless it's objectively demonstrable. Only Gene, R.I.P., could make such a judgment. And to be honest, after his death, Trek changed a lot for the better. I'm not going to lie, you're correct. Gene Roddenberry was one of the most mercurial people of all time. And one of the things that made him great was he was one of TV's greatest collaborators and hands-off showrunners. And one of the things that was a real problem with when Star Trek TNG first launches is he's one of the most hands-on and non-collaborative showrunners of all time. And there's like the legends about how crazy his lawyer was Howard Maisel like breaking into people's desks. Was it Manny Coat? Wasn't Manny Coat? It was Rick Berman, right? And Ira Stephen Bear, like they put like padlocks on their fucking desks to keep this guy away because they thought he was a nut. He was like breaking into people's offices at night and like bringing the scripts to Gene so he could rewrite them, and like all these crazy things. And like as we get ready for these comments brought to you by RRTNZ, I mean, you could make a case that after 1993 we've only had fanfic. Right? The creator is gone. Star Trek is no more a Gene Roddenberry show after 1993 than Earth Final Conflict. They want to be crazy about it. I have a different view. My view is this. Gene Roddenberry didn't live long enough. 70 is really starting to look too young as we get older. But I wouldn't change a thing because the flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long. He was a genius, and he lived a crazy life, it seems. He was a great hirer of talent and a great recognizer of talent. He put together a really solid writing team where everyone understood their visions and complemented each other. And when he passed away, the people that he had, who were hired by him, they continued on with very good Star Trek tradition and very solid Star Trek ideas where they respected the maestro's choices deeply. They didn't do a great job all the time, but like things like Star Trek, we wanted to bring something different. Why make the same old show again? Deep Space Nine, let's do it from a fixed point. Voyager, let's try to come home. And I thought that these were like, worthy, if not always like working out ideas. Maybe there always should have been a safer flagship show that was more like original Trek out there in the mix, which Voyager sort of tracks to because they do more of the sci-fi and the exploring. But I mean, Deep Space Nine's a worthy idea. And then also from Welshie, we have another one. But before that, I think that you guys have certainly earned the media montage. We opened up with Sir. So let me think.
The word decent doesn't apply to me.
All right, let's do this one.
A Terran who doesn't know the rules.
Sir, we have to take orders.
Well, We'll see to it that he learns them. What's your designation?
Sir, could you give us a name?
Bashir. Julian.
Sir, my name is Razor. Sir!
Is that a joke?
Sir, would you please sign this order?
No jokes.
Sir!
Now, Sean, did I read the buffering right when Doomcock was going on the rant about how the Steam Council was wrong? And I put through the message like, Sean, you can't sit there and take that. You have to stand up for Steam. Sean, sir.
I don't think
better.
I saw that. Was he doing super chats at the time?
No, he was on his rant. Maybe he was doing. No, you were on screen because I thought I saw you react to it.
Oh, I may have. But I don't think I caught your chat.
I was like, it wasn't a super chat. It was just to you. It was like,
No,
Sean,
yeah, oh,
you
okay.
can't let him say this. Steam is better.
Oh, I did see
I
that.
saw that, yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
see
okay,
that.
yeah. I did see you him like try to start to laugh, like not try to start to not laugh because he was in the middle of talking.
Yeah, I do remember now. Yeah,
That was one of the few times I've seen you mute to laugh.
Now, Admiral, if I could respond to RRTNZ, sir.
Yes.
In our RRTNZ, our RRTNZ, sorry. Pleasure having you on the other evening. Hope to
Great.
see you again soon. You disagree with judging whether a show is Star Trek or not. Only Gene could make such a judgment. However, I would counter that with the original Star Trek, I would say that the studio had just as much say as he did. What
They
Star
told
Trek
him to
was.
shut up and made five perfectly good movies. I mean, I love Gene. We got twice as much Star Trek because he just wasn't a movie guy. And
Yeah.
we see it here and we see it in Farpoint. I just want to talk about the Cajun context. This pilot shares so many common Gene Roddenberry show pilot problems. Gene Roddenberry was a great show inceptor. I think it was more like you had to survive the Gene Roddenberry pilot to get to the show. I think you had to survive it.
And I would say that the studio had a lot of say in what Star Trek was. Not always for the best. I mean, look at season 3. In a lot of those episodes, a lot of the decisions that were made bringing Chekhov in with that stupid earpiece and all the rest, right?
Well, the thing is
They definitely made
Gene
mistakes,
was no longer,
but
Gene was too disengaged to fight for a higher quality. So I think he at least would have gotten Chekhov a better wig because we like Chekhov, but I hear you.
right. And then you can even see it more in TNG where, Gene was, of course, getting sick and some things like that. But the studio always had a lot of say against maybe Gene's wishes, what Star Trek was going to be. It wasn't necessarily always his vision. There's a lot of disagreement about that going back and forth. Would I like to say Gene is the one that decides everything? Sure, but I just don't think, in reality, it was necessarily so. Now, after Gene died, who in TNG started to wrap up, who owned what Star Trek was or was not, I think started to get a little bit more nebulous. And now I think it's pretty clear the fans get to decide what is Star Trek and what is not, because we control the whole thing with our dollars, not them.
That's a
and
great.
Kurtzman cannot claim it.
You know what? The first person to say that was none other than Gene. And we all see him say it. You know what? You want to see Gene Roddenberry tell you who owns Star Trek? Watch him at any Star Trek convention where he says, this is all because of you. This, in part, it belongs to you. After a certain point, you, my fans, started to inspire it. This show is for you. It belongs in part to you. So as part owner of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry knew who owned Star Trek, and he said that we, the fans, own part of it. And I think it's because we bought it back so many times. And this will be the greatest comeback ever if we can get the original continuity with quality writers back. There might still be problems. I don't pretend that it'll be perfect. But like the Star Trek United idea sounds extremely solid. We'll get into that. And you know what? You could just do a standalone Star Trek Starship Adventure show with good enough characters and never have to address too much. The ship could just communicate with a one starbase commander, get your Admiral Nechayev type person, and just, you wouldn't have to flesh it out that much. People love the idea and the stories, just need so much central command. Kurtzman got mired down in I have to show this bureaucracy is bad. All right, so here we see a show and an image that made Alex Kurtzman so insane that for 8 years he's menaced us with horrible semi-trek. But you know what? RRTNZ gave us another great super chat. So I think what we need to do is show you some of the best and worst of Alex Kurtzman so that we can enjoy the super chat, which I will then read for you. Let's see if we got it. This one should do.
This is a personal massager.
Oh, God. You know what? I mean, I would say if I had 2 minutes, I would play the producer parade. But you know what? We don't have that kind of time right now. But
oh God, I forgot about that.
I kept it on here because it's funny. We have new Trek coming back, guys. First of all, I want to thank.
We may not want to play that again though, because it does kind of feed into the artificially created content.
No, it doesn't, because it doesn't make a real scene seem real or anything like that. And we can play it. We don't open up with it. We play it in the middle, and it's brief. It's 2 fucking minutes. It's 1 minute and 46 seconds. We'll survive. We're gonna survive. We're gonna live on. And you know what? Welcome to our show on the most convenient day of the year. If you get it. Shut up! I'm sorry, sir. It's the 11th of July. Everyone in America knows 7-Eleven is the most convenient day of the year.
That was so controversial. Sir.
Sir. You guys may notice whenever we come back from that one, I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at my own creation. I'm laughing at Sean's laughter because I can see him backstage while it plays, because whenever the horse part comes on, he can't help it. He's almost lose.
I don't know why that makes me laugh so much.
Because it's so off. It's so unhinged yet harmless. I guess the best.
It goes perfectly with it's.
The Jerry Goldsmith music just makes it perfect. And hello to Gunner. Did anyone else come in that I may have missed? Hello, Tim. It's good to see you. Trek Reviewer, I think I said hello to you. Buddy is here. I said hello to Buddy. RR is here. He has been very generous. Mark is here. All right, guys. Let's get going on this one. Let's get your chats up on the screen. It's going to cover Radioactive a little bit. Sorry, Radioactive, but you're an avatar. You'll be okay. Let's let people have one more look at Radioactive's avatar. As you can see, 1 moon circles. Oh, wait, wrong ion. But he's radioactive as could be. You know what? I would hate to ever have a fallout with Radioactive. But all right, guys.
Oh, God.
This episode begins.
Get a Half-Life, Teag.
Oh.
That's a good one. You know what, guys? We're going to use some Sasewiols to get through the synopsis, because we've all seen this one a million times. I'm just going to say it. We start out with an overload of crazy visuals, crazy sounds, crazy noises, and crazy shit that's a little too out of context to get us grounded. And that might be one of the first problems that this has as a pilot. While they do show everyone's role on the bridge, things are going batshit. And we don't have the best A-team. I do not like the helmsman, the blonde guy. I do not like the other dude. I do not like the chick that we have at one of the stations. I think she's at the station usually occupied by Scotty. I do not like Dr. Boyce. I do not like this crew. And I do not like any captain who starts the show out the way this captain did, although we do reuse the scene in Wrath of Khan. Let's talk about what happens on the bridge. The view screen is going nuts, and I'm thinking to myself, Gene is already depending upon knowledge of Star Trek to sell this episode of Star Trek. Okay. In context, ladies and gentlemen, this began the 3 most confounding hours of Star Trek of my entire life. The 3 most confounding hours of mostly new Star Trek. What do I mean? I saw this followed by Encounter at Farpoint, which was the first episode of TNG. That's how much they loved the cage. They locked it away for 25 years. They only put it out on DVD. On Blu-ray, VHS the year before.
A little further back there.
Laser disc, 8-track.
They put it out on 8-track. Yeah, they only put it out on VHS the year before. It wasn't even on beta. They put it out on VHS the year before, and you had to buy the whole season to get it. They didn't put it on TV, and like when they showed it, like I think Gene Roddenberry like sets it up. It's like
they did air it on television.
But look at the air date, October 9th, 1989 or 1988.
Was it 88?
Yes, they sat on it for 25 years. IMDb says October 1989.
Oh no, I remember that I remember it being a big deal that hey, we're going to show the cage, and it was like a
it was to set up the first episode of TNG.
Yeah, but here's the problem: they didn't have all the footage from the cage. They thought they'd lost it. That's why they never put it out.
Oh.
They had to re-find the footage, and when they did, that's when they put it together and edited it.
Well, I'm glad they cut out the part where the transporter chief is wearing fucking glasses. That was not very Star Trek.
It was for the time.
Yeah, I didn't mind those glasses.
Big Pharma didn't come out with Red X5 until much later, and it just happens to be that a lot of people were allergic to Retin X5. I'm just saying.
The Nazis had Retin X5. It was suppressed and kept away from the general public.
No, Admiral, you were totally right, though. That first, I don't know what you would call it, 5 minutes. I mean, just pick a timestamp. It could be the first 10 minutes. It was just pure chaos of like an attempt to get special effects in to wow an audience and to show off the technology and try to set up this show. And a lot of it just didn't work. I don't know if they didn't have edited or the editing wasn't done right.
Roddenberry's still real new.
Remember that the pilot's intention is to wow the studio, not the audience.
Here's the reason.
Exactly.
Right.
And this was edited decades later.
Well, I mean,
we're not seeing the version that the execs got to see.
Yeah, they probably fixed it for pacing. It was really long. It's 20 minutes longer than a regular episode. It's 63 fucking minutes. It is longer than almost anything except New Trek. And unfortunately, you do see the little seeds of how Alex Kurtzman was able to exploit these things and call them Star Trek. Like a woman bailing him out at the last minute because his brain glitches out is so Kurtzman Trek. But it may be perhaps with the chaos on the bridge, if they had had a meeting about the missing ship that was interrupted by the signal and the distortions, then maybe we would have been a little more grounded. But when we just start with people running around yelling tech stuff, it was a little bit reminiscent of the level of chaos of episode 1 of Lost. I mean, we didn't have people getting sucked into a plane. Because of JJ being involved with Trek, it came to mind.
One of the questions that I have watching this, and I don't know if they had the footage correct or not, but when you go to time warp factor 7, I believe was the time warp factor they gave.
Yes.
And the whole screen just goes from color to, I guess, a grayscale or a black and white. And it wasn't exactly clear to me that that's why they did that. It just looked like a mistake. Like they had found other footage perhaps that wasn't filmed in color and glued that together.
Probably that's the case. Yeah.
I think maybe when they came out of warp, it went back into color at some point after that. But there are just things that are jarring with this.
Yeah.
Are you talking the cage?
The menagerie, right? Some of the menagerie is in black and white. I
think
only the
the
dreams
cage.
are in color.
I'm talking about the cage.
Okay.
It's fully restored to color now the way I saw it on Paramount Plus.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's probably true.
It also has the regular beginning, but without the voiceover.
But I think that's somewhat nitpicking, guys. I mean, nitpicking some of the production capability on a show that's basically at this point 65 years old. It was groundbreaking for the time. So if you're going to compare it to anything, you need to compare it. Maybe you could, I guess, in theory, compare it to the production quality of Forbidden Planet, which was 10 years earlier and Technicolor. However, that was an actual feature film. Roddenberry obviously didn't have that budget, and like
he had that budget. He had that budget.
Well,
that's why
where I was going with
this was movie budget movie money.
Where I was going with this was I could not tell if the black and white was intentional or not, because if it was intentional, it would have been missed by most of an audience, because I think it was 72 was the year that they sold more color TVs than black and white.
You wouldn't, that's right. You wouldn't have noticed also back in the mid 60s. Most people wouldn't have noticed that back in the mid 60s.
Right. You had to have not just a color TV, but the right kind of color TV, because each network had a different way of broadcasting.
Yeah, they had different color scales, but they hadn't standardized it all yet. But
I think the CBS color is the color that won, though, right? NBC and CBS had the same color, and ABC had their own.
That may be true. I don't recall. I'd have to go back and look. But here's the thing. I think we're nitpicking little production things without.
That's what we do.
Well, I know, but still, I mean, I don't see how it dissects the Cage and says that the Cage isn't necessarily Star Trek.
Well, I was just merely trying to point out that the beginning of it was confusing to me because of a lot of the different technical things that were flashing around, and the fact it was going from color to black and white and back to color. I didn't know if that was an intended effect or not.
When is this, like when you first saw it? I guess
this is the menagerie on TV. I think he's talking to me.
No, he's talking. No, JT said the Cage, because
specifically the Cage.
Well, yeah, I recall when they first came out with it on, like, it was VHS, because obviously DVD and all the other formats really weren't available. I mean, Laserdisc technically I think may have been available in '87, but it was so new and such a small percentage.
They had VTR, but no one liked that garbage.
Yeah, that was an RCA product, but nobody really had that one either. But
there was Beta, but that was super expensive and better.
Yeah, I think that if I recall correctly, when it first came out, there was a few little glitches in the editing, but they didn't have the ability to necessarily to redigitize everything like they do today. I mean, now you can do all sorts of tricks. You have all sorts of a toolbox. So they used what footage they had to splice it back together, because they didn't have the color footage, or they thought they had lost all the color footage. And then somewhere in like the mid 80s or so, obviously prior to it being released, they refound it again in their warehouse somewhere. And that's when they put it back together. Right. So up to that point, all they had was what appeared in the menagerie.
It's a really good selling point for a collection of videos where you're like, at the end of this, you'll get the unaired episode. That'll power a lot of people through buying like Elaine of Troyes and the alternative.
And I'm talking the Cage, the original pilot version of the Cage. I also have an extended version of the Cage. And I think there's at least one other version out there where it's all in color, and it was probably touched up quite a bit, which might be the one that you saw on Paramount, Admiral.
Well, the one I saw on Paramount, the color looks fantastic. Now, to do a quick comparison, I watched the Menagerie. By the way, Paramount Plus seems to have done some initial work on unmessing up Captain Kirk's voice. Everyone else needs to listen to it to tell me if it's just a hallucination, but it sounded better. It wasn't in mono. It wasn't too low, and it wasn't like intentionally like distorted. However, it wasn't what I remembered either. But then again, it's been so long since I've heard it properly. It seems to have been partially restored. The Paramount people, it's been too long. They need to get to work on their streaming service. They raised the price. Maybe now they can start like raising the level of service. Couldn't remember what I watched. All right. So The Enterprise, like we said, there's chaos on the bridge. Captain Pike, and this is proper Captain Pike. I would like to point out, do you guys know how we got Jeffrey Hunter as an actor? He volunteered for World War II and was declared too handsome. That's true. He was moved into the Signal Corps. His first movie is Back to Bataan with Robert Mitchum.
And he was also in The Longest Day.
He is in The Longest Day. He's like 35 in that,
the greatest story ever told, I think, was his other big movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. You know what? Like they said that like he really thought he was God during that movie.
Yeah, I've heard the same story. That he
you know what? I thought that was a good one, though, by the way. He did, but you know what? I will say this. I thought he did a good he was a pretty cool Jesus. I liked him. But then again, I liked William Dafoe as Jesus. All right. Tangent over. Okay, let's talk about this plot. So after we have our confusing beginning, one thing I noticed is everyone on the bridge has like an ace bandage, a black eye, like the helmsman, who is one of the weirdest looking guys I've ever seen. That towhead, like that guy's just weird looking. He's like he's got his hand wrapped up, like in a black eye. Spock is limping when he walks. They're a wreck from what happened on Rigel 2 weeks earlier.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Rigel 7.
All right. Good memory. Yeah, they're a wreck from the fight with the warrior on Rigel. He took on like half the crew and messed most of them up. And I'm thinking, Spock, sir, you have super strength. Why didn't you use it? And I'm like, I guess he didn't have it yet. But, you know, Spock, sir, plant a suggestion not to beat up the crew. But they're all beat up. And
was it Rigel 6 or Rigel 7? 6, 7? I don't know.
7.
I know. That was a bad joke.
6
or 7, you know.
Yeah. Ha ha ha.
I'm sorry, Sean. You have to be under 20 to make that joke.
No. I want it.
He's got a stepkid rolling around there. He can make a dad joke and make it real embarrassing for everybody. And you can totally do it, Sean.
He's too old for that as well.
You still got the license.
Yeah, right. I guess I aged into it. I'm allowed. Dead Man's just gonna jump right in there and do it.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. All right, so the time distortions are overwhelming. The crew, we notice all of them have physical damage. They've taken a beating. What happened back on Rigel wasn't too great. The captain's yeoman, who I guess was male, was killed. Who was his first yeoman? Johnny from Airplane? I mean, like, honestly. Johnny, get me some readings. There's a sale at Penny's, you know? He physically walks into his yeoman in an awkward physical comedy moment. Then she leaves after, like, they check each other out in a way that we could tell. And number one,
she was hot, though.
She is hot. Laurel Goodwin was her name. And number one is immediately, like, kind of right in there being jealous. This is my take. They hated number one. We know this. The Paramount people, the people from CBS wanted her out of, I'm sorry, NBC wanted her out of there. But she played a necessary role. This is my take. I'll go with it. So say we all, unless you disagree. They merged her traits into Spock to make him into the Spock we know. That's just boom.
Oh yeah.
Side load them right at Spock. Yeah, so say we all.
They kind of admitted that.
Did they? All right. Yeah, she's very cold and very logical. So all right. We agree on that one.
I really wasn't a fan of like the are we at the spot with the yeoman and Pike makes a sexist comment.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Open up on the bridge. I was like, oh.
That's hard to hear. That's hard to hear. It's like, ooh.
Maybe it worked okay at the time, but man, it really doesn't.
Fine.
Sirs, we were okay with it 2 years later when Captain Kirk slaps like 3 different women to their senses in the course of the series.
Well, Pike was also just basically echoing what NBC thought. That was one of the things they said. No, you got to get rid of her.
Yeah,
which is sad because actually, Majel Brett looks the best in this particular episode. She looks best as
she
a
looks very
brunette
pretty.
versus platinum blonde.
I just didn't think it would fit if he had a female first officer. Why he would even say that? It would be like
because it was the sign of the times. It's the 60s. That's why.
It works because you didn't see number one as female.
That too.
And that was going to be a running joke.
But she identifies as a female, so he should have accepted her as a female. And
no, I think the deal is what Jerm is saying.
Walking computer.
What Jerm is saying is blind spot for his capable officer, and that somewhere in the line they might have shipped them or something. Because there was some sexual tension. It didn't look like Pike was going to be like the ladies' man captain that we got. Like they were going to ship him with number one or more likely the yeoman. And that was the plan with Kirk too. It's just that Grace Lee Whitney was like, like she liked to drink. So like they couldn't rely on her. And things like recasting all the different women who were crew people who members of the crew who would go with Kirk places, that was out of necessity. In Dagger of the Mind, Noelle was supposed to be Janice. It was supposed to be Janice.
She's my favorite Trek girl of all time.
They have a pretty hot one in this. There's only a few original cast members in the menagerie who aren't in regular Star Trek. They reused the Telosian leader as the Starbase commander. But I like that woman with the huge cans who notices Captain Kirk and says that he's banged all her friends. In the menagerie. Remember that?
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, that woman's rack is gigantic. And she's like, oh, you know my friend. And Kirk can't remember the chick. He's like, yes, of course. It's like, way to go, man. I want to be like this guy. All right, back to the cage. They get the whatever's going on. There's some sort of distortions going across their view screen. The view screen's not right yet. It's the auxiliary control room view screen, and we see it again in Doomsday Machine. That's where we see that view screen again. Handrails in the bridge are painted black. The bridge looks more military, and it doesn't look anything like what New Trek took from it. And it doesn't look, even though it's the same bridge, essentially, it doesn't look much like the one we're used to because they pulled out a lot of that weird gear, like the viewers on the
I like those actually. Those are kick ass.
Those
miniature view screens I think the reason why they had to get rid of them was they didn't know how to use them.
Those things look like the War of the Worlds ships.
Yes.
Those things were so weird.
They had them everywhere. What they did was we got rid of most of them. We kept one or two. We redesigned
in where no man. In the second pilot, where no man has
right.
gone before.
And here's the thing. We realized that it's a good idea, and we get Spock's scanner because in this one, when Spock would have gone to his scanner, he walks over to his screen and he's like swiping the air. So I don't know if Gene perceived that, but the Telosians do it too.
Admiral, when they painted those rails black, Mick Jagger looked only 50. At that point,
I thought you were going to say it was June 18th. They didn't want to offend anyone.
No.
Hey, black
the
rails
rest of the month
matter.
Are rainbow colored.
Black rails matter.
All right, let's stay on the red rails. But so there's chaos on the bridge, and what's going on is the view screen is distorting over and over in a weird way with a lot of horrible noise. There's a red alert sound that sounds like a dying mosquito. It's really bad Foley art. It
does sound bad.
Yeah. And like some of the noises are okay. The computer noise is used later for their computer room. But like the noises in the Foley, it's not quite where it needs to be, and it's distracting rather than engaging or building up on it. Maybe because it's different,
and it's exactly what you expected from the 2250s. That's the way they did things in the 2250s.
I do think that it does seem like it would be the 2250s, to be honest with you. It did seem like a good 60s version of it. And it's not retro futurism. That was futurism then. It's just retro now because the show is old. Okay, so let's remember that. But there were some things on there that didn't make sense. Like on the little view screens that you use as an intercom, like Pike looks at it and you see Spock, and Spock says, "Spock here." Like, why would you say that? Like, yo, it's me. Something like that. Like, yo, what up? You know what I mean? Like, it's like I didn't get that one.
Well, because if he had said Spock there, then everybody else would have been confused.
That's
They
true.
would have gone like, where? There? Yeah, here.
Now that I edit video, I saw how they did that too. Because when his image disappears, there's no screen behind it. It's just like a piece of metal, and I'm like, whew, rough. But because we know that's not what the aesthetic they were going for was. They're just like, no one's going to notice. Let's just make this, And also it's like, we need to build more props was probably going through their minds. So the bridge is not exactly what we want it to be. But after the weird distortion on the screen, we get the radio signal, and they're like, we're passing through what would be radio waves. And they do the math and they triangulate. They find out where it's from. And then the computer gives them the facts that the ship sent before it went down. And I'm
didn't it have a printout?
Yes,
it
comes out like a fact.
Did.
It comes out like a fact.
They had dot matrix.
Dot matrix.
You said FAX facts. I think okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. They get the ship facts, the car facts on the other ship. They're like, sir, it's a 1978 Chevy, only one owner, older woman from Pasadena.
30,000 miles.
It said if you like
those
pina
are all highway
coladas.
miles, sir. All right. They get the facts. They find out where this transmission came from. It's 18 years old. And somewhere in there, Pike says, oh, yeah, the speed bumps on the screen were how they were sure to get our attention. Because they're thinking they're going to hit something, or maybe that something's coming towards them, or they're under threat. And I'm like, oh, geez, scaring the hell out of everybody. That's a good way to get your attention. But maybe like in an emergency, it's like, start firing on that ship. Their distress signal's on, or they're going to attack us. I can't tell. So that part, a little weird, but they work it out. Then he walks right into his yeoman and he yells at her for doing her job because she's actually on time and she's just being dumb. Version alarm and all. Yes, that would be Spaceballs. Dot Matrix is Joan Rivers, right? Okay, so they get the location, they head there, and they say space time warp factor 7. And he makes this announcement to the crew that should be standard business, except that someone already mentioned Forbidden Planet. This has way too much Forbidden Planet in it. Way too much Forbidden Planet.
This was we skipped over a little part though, didn't we? Did we skip over the martini conversation with the doctor?
Yes, we have.
We haven't gotten off the bridge because we're going to plan the landing party after we get off the bridge. So we haven't. We start with the time distortions and we haven't gotten done with them. So we have the time distortions on the bridge. Pike is a little hesitant about choosing the landing party, and they have some time before they're going to get to the planet. Pike retires to his quarters because he's not William Shatner's James T. Kirk, who never leaves the bridge and probably works 2 shifts and a half a day. I don't think Kirk likes to leave the bridge. I think that's his preferred habitat is the bridge. He leaves the bridge to go work out so that he can be calmer when he goes back to the bridge. That Kirk goes to his quarters to sleep so that he can be awake when he goes to the bridge. So say we all.
Plus
Pike,
he likes to walk to the bridge wearing no shirt.
He does like to wear with a towel around his shoulders.
Dun, 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 dun.
Stops off at Janice's cabin. It's like, Janice, that scratch face makeup that you have for when I go crazy in the transporter madness, can I have some of that? Put some foundation over my nipples so I can walk shirtless to the ship? Because you know how the network censors are in 1965 or whatever.
But he always tells her first, give me the brandy.
Give me the brandy. That's just actually it's on lines and bones, but yeah. Okay, so then we have the conversation with Dr. Boyce and Pike, and I guess they're supposed to be shown as real disconnected from us, Boyce opens up what seems to be a medical package, and he's like, "What the devil is that?"
In a beautiful leather attaché case.
I think that was Gene probably bought that prop just so he could have it for himself. Like that left with Gene. He was like, "So number one, you want to help me have some fun with this prop that I bought for our new apartment when we go out horseback riding together with all the money I'm going to make off our new show?" And she's like, I'm so glad that I'm the star of the show. He's like, "Yeah, baby, you're going to be the best number one ever." But he at least, he gets her back into the show in several ways. But did they? All right. So at any rate, they get back. In Pike's cabin, we have the conversation about I'm burned out. And this conversation is not quite beat for beat, but very much the same as beware of Romulans bearing gifts, Jim. It's from Wrath of Khan. I'm burned out. And this does not work because in the menagerie, we find out that Captain Pike is younger than Captain Kirk. He's more of a wunderkind. Or I'm sorry, is just about the same age as Captain Kirk. But Jeffrey Hunt is 46 when they make this. So make no mistake, he's older.
Wow, really?
He was 19 in 1941.
Wow. He
also
look good for being 46.
If you notice, they have a wood console television in the captain's quarters.
Captain's cabin, yes.
Yeah.
Or some kind of monitor with like a desk working environment, but there's a TV on it. And it's in the middle where a TV would be. It doesn't work. Like it's not as good as Kirk's cabin at all.
Plus, he also, I think he said something like 203 crew.
Yeah.
Yes,
low 200s.
Well, yeah, it was
203.
203, but
I'm sick of being responsible for 203 lives, and I'm thinking that was probably like 260 before your stupid trip to Rigel.
Keep in mind that
we all need phasers, guys. Why did they fight for Chile without their phasers?
At the time of the cage, the Enterprise was at that point roughly, I think, 10 years old or so.
Admiral Cartwright,
10 to 15 years prior.
In Star Trek 3, Admiral Cartwright's a real idiot. He's like, "Jim, she's 20 years old." And I'm like, "That ship's 33 years old if it's a day, you idiot."
That wasn't Cartwright, but it was he does say the Enterprise is 20 years old.
I think it's a different actor playing the same role. I think they recast Cartwright.
The point is, though, that I believe the actual Enterprise that Kirk commands is what, 470 something. Thereabout, depending on mission profile.
Yeah, they'd already gone
to our 320.
They'd already gone through a retrofit, to be honest.
A lot of people use that as the reason they said 20 years. It was 20 years since the refit.
That would make sense.
That's like how fans have kind of explained it.
Well, that's actually an accurate naval analogy because that's what we do with our Navy ships. Or real ships. They brought back in the port, and you. Like when they go through and they replace especially for the nuclear carriers, they have to replace everything pretty much. They do.
Do they recommission them though?
Well, they don't. Well, you could not formally. I mean, it's already a commissioned ship, but they go through do go through sea trials again, I would guess.
All right.
My whole thing about that is, I know we're nitpicking at this point, but 203 officers and crew. I mean, you're talking about fewer people on that ship than what was on like a Gearing class destroyer in World War II.
But this is a spacecraft, so potato, good enough for government work.
I'm just saying, if this is the first exposure to an audience, all these Navy vets from World War II are going to go 200. How tiny is this ship?
Right, like I guess maybe the Enterprise is meant to be more like a destroyer. Here's the deal: when we do finally do the space warp factor thing, the time warp factor, everybody has to go somewhere, grab onto something, and strike a pose while the weird effect goes on. And this is so Forbidden Planet because when Leslie Nielsen says to the other guys from the ship, he's like, "All right, you know what? Reggie Jackson's going to kill the queen. We got to go to this Forbidden Planet. Let's all go into our space-time warp area." And they have to stand somewhere while the ship goes super fast, and they get hit with like weird pulsing lights, if I remember that correctly. I'm a little off, but Reggie Jackson definitely killing the Queen, probably figured in. I think that part I got right. I must kill the Queen.
While wearing an Angels uniform in Dodger Stadium.
The real question that you blew right past, Admiral, was that martini shaken or stirred?
Both. Boyce was shaken up by the captain's decision and stirred by how absolutely lazy and trash that Captain Pike is in this episode. When he, I mean,
I'd say it's more like PTSD, but that's just me.
He wants to be a human trafficker over his PTSD. There might be a limit. Like this is not like the deer hunter.
There's many possibilities he could do. That's the. I mean,
he says he wants to go out riding on his horse, and he's like, "That sounds like fun." He's like, "Well, I could also be a human trafficker," and he's like, "What? Isn't that a little unhinged?" And he's like, "I'm just saying, there's other jobs." I think the deal is maybe he gave him some space booze, or like, I don't know. I thought it was an awkward conversation, and I'm saying to myself, this is not my captain, and this is not my doctor, and they're not having the kind of conversation that they're supposed to have for another 20 years. And I do not like to have a show where the captain of the ship that I'm supposed to be wanting to be captain of says that he does not like being captain of the ship. That was not a good choice.
Yeah.
That was a real mistake.
No, he was burned out. That's what happens when you're in command. That's what happens. That's why in the real world, command
it's not believable.
positions.
It's a terrible choice for a move for a story.
Well, because they threw in stuff from the real world that people weren't going to relate to unless they actually have military service. So what happens is that's why you
demilitarize the environment.
They only put people in command for 2 years in any assignment in the real world. That's a fact.
I guess that's why Captain Kirk has the 5-year mission, because they're supposed to be like, doing that same kind of thing. And he's been broken out after that. But then I guess Starfleet changes his policy, or he does multiple tours, because between Star Trek the Motion Picture and Wrath of Khan, there's only 2 years gone since the end of the series, but the real time from 2 years past the series to the ages of the characters passes between TMP and TWOC, and we're left to assume that they had as many amazing adventures and maybe met the other presidents in space too. Like Trump might have beamed up.
Yeah. Admiral, I did want to say hi to, that's a cool name. I had that comment highlighted, M5 tie-in. This is a new hello M5 tie-in. Is nice to have you. I don't think I've seen this name before.
See you. I've seen it. We have an M5 who comes by, but I have not seen N5 tie-in.
I bet you that's the same M5. He's the same M5. It's just like all the rest of us had to have different names.
Okay.
That's my guess, unless he says otherwise.
True? But it was a good comment though, because he does say that the crew all have full quarters at this time, is not bunked and stacked.
Yeah, they weren't hot racking yet.
Well, not being forced to. That was a voluntary thing if they wanted to hot rack.
See, M5 just confirmed. He's the same M5.
Oh, okay.
All right. It's good to see you.
I'm great.
M5.
You are great.
I am great. You are great. You know what, M5? You have heard this.
Ultimate achievement in computer evolution.
There we go. You know what? You can buy, like, I got the crew these little gifts. They're like little Star Trek, like they're tiny reproduced props. Like this is the command chair. You know what this year's Christmas ornament and prop is? It's the M5 control console.
Oh, nice.
By the way, did you guys notice that when they turn on the computers in the cage, it's the sound of the M5? It's the M5 initialization sound.
Oh, really?
That wee. Yeah. It's very Alexander Courage. There's a lot of music in this episode. It's all really good. There's like the influence of jazz is still going on. There are no hippies yet. There are beatniks. Beatniks are what's going on. People like Gene Roddenberry is just like, hey, Daddy-O, I've got an idea for this great idea, but first I'm going to drop these binsies and go to my office and chill. You know what I mean? Like, listen to some Gene Krupa. So, I mean, that's what we're talking about, the different, like how fast things change. Because Star Trek does become a big hit with the hippies. They love it, but okay, this is a different era. They've got different style. This is like pre-Beatlemania Star Trek. And when we get to the planet, we've found out there are survivors. There's an oxygen atmosphere. One thing I did notice was one of the planets took what you would call a polar orbit above the Telosian sun. It was an interesting solar system, and the things work by Spock swiping his hand. Did anyone else notice the swiping hand gestures? That was the first time I ever noticed that.
So what you're saying is that's where the guys at Xerox Corporation originally got their idea for the what would later become iPad. Because all of that was developed by Xerox. All of that was developed by Xerox, not Apple.
I didn't know that. I was thinking maybe the grinder people got the idea from that. It's like
Xerox had a ton of patents that
Xerox created so much crap for modern computing that we'd have to have an entire episode devoted to it. But I digress.
Yeah.
We could do that, and that would be a lot of fun. Right now, though,
probably Xerox got their idea from this. So there you go.
All right, so we thank you. We've done our moment where everyone has to grab hold and get hit with weird lights to go into warp speed. This was a terrible idea that I'm glad they got rid of, which is another good reason this wasn't the pilot. Did anyone want to see that every time they went to warp?
No, and it's also black and white, my version.
It came across like the transporters from Galaxy Quest, like unintentionally, stupidly funny.
I don't think that it really would have connected well on a small TV set. Like some of this stuff,
TV at least as big as Pike's. He had a huge TV in his cabin.
He did.
It was like a 50-inch. Okay.
Well, that's where Kurtzman got the kitchen idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
He did have a bigger cabin.
He never watched The Cage. Come on, guys.
Well, yeah, that's probably true. Well, he probably did, but it was some another type of film. Let's put
Lover
it that way.
watched it for him, shall we? Yeah. We'll put it to you that way. You know what, Sean? You and I, we liked the special edition. The special edition was especially charitable to The Cage. Did they just force that window into Pike's cabin, or is that just there and we can't see out of it in the original? I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm all memory on this episode because I didn't have time to watch it.
It's okay. I watched it 2.5 times.
Do some funny things for setting up the set for this show. The transporter room has a very large print of a galaxy. It looked like a spiral galaxy, like the Milky Way, and it's like framed in and everything. But why would you have pictures on the inside of your ship of space when you're in space?
Probably for the same reason that if you walk into any corporate office, they have pictures of the stuff that they do.
I would just say they're star charts and maps.
Possibly, but it looks very 1960s. The way that they did it is all just screams 1960s.
Agreed. Also, their very small TV-shaped view screen didn't work. When they got the movie aspect view screen, it worked better. Sean first, then Radioactive. Sorry.
In naval ships, it is common to have a picture of your ship on the ship in the captain's quarters.
Yeah.
So, does the picture of the ship on the ship have a picture of the ship on the ship of a picture on the ship?
Yeah, it goes infinity, like
nice.
into two mirrors. Yeah,
nice.
Yes, that's where the mirror universe actually is. And that's where, the funny thing, you should say this, but did you guys know that Kathy Griffin was like 5 years old when this episode was on, but her boyfriend was not yet born when Enterprise aired? Okay, moving on. She was in competition with Susan. She was in competition with Susan Oliver for the role of Vina. They're like, you know what? Let's go with the good-looking one. Okay, so we finally make our way to the planet after some more awkward talk with number one about how she has to stay on the ship. She pouts about it. She is overcompensating. I guess she's a metaphor for career women who only have just so. She's pounding that glass ceiling. She wants to go down to the planet. Don't worry, you're going to get the chance. Also, when Spock's in his little alcove doing his science officer thing, some of the TVs do have moving pictures. I don't know if they were ground in there later by the special edition, But you can have TV on TV by adjusting, as Sean explained the pattern for the broadcast, and you turn down the. Explain it again, Sean. To film a TV with a TV camera.
Oh yeah, you gotta have the frame rate match.
Yep.
There you go.
Otherwise, you see those weird vertical lines flowing through it. And
it's the same effect that, like, remember Old Little House on the Prairie when a wagon would go by, it looked like the wheels are going backwards.
Yeah,
it's kind of the same
It's
thing.
kind of like a strobe effect, Teag. That's kind of what it is
Yeah.
about. You got to match frequency rates. So in this case, it's like 30 hertz.
Okay, so like I said, there are some actual TVs there while Spock is
Admiral
talking.
Teag, incoming super chat.
Guys, you're the best. Wes Cagle, a member for 30 months. Sir, how do you like your new badge? I like the cage much better than the menagerie. You're allowed to. You're allowed to. I like the menagerie better because one, we get a better look at the Enterprise's steam core. Just kidding. No, I like the menagerie better because we see our Star Trek heroes. It's got William Shatner. So it just makes it better right there, even though hypothetically the menagerie might be the better story. It's very complete. But Wes Cagle, thank you for having my back for 30 months, and all of you who've been with me, even if it's just, for a few months, for the first night, first night's most important. I'll cuddle you,
Okay.
hold you close.
We need to honor Wes Cagle for his membership here.
Yeah, there we go, Sean. There you go.
Hold on.
Program identified. Loading Pride Weather Simulation West Cagle 2.
There you go. I knew that perfect. I knew I was like, does he have the fair use Blue Oyster music on there? And it's like, yep, there it comes.
I can hear him cursing you out all the way from New Jersey.
He's laughing while he's doing it, but yes.
So does that mean that Wes Cagle is the president of the Blue Oyster cult?
Yes.
Mm.
It's good to see my friend Scarf Podcast here. He'll be here during the week soon, I hope, to hang out with me. And we'll get him on. I'm trying to grab his channel so I can show it. But you know what? The dyslexia is strong tonight. Can someone grab Scarf Podcast's channel and just drop it into the stream for me, guys? One of the wrenches, anyone? Scarf, it's great to see you, buddy. And he's saying hi to the Trek Nerd. Scarf does really good Disney coverage. He's got optimistic but grounded take on new Star Trek. So if you don't want like doom and gloom, like he will make the admission if it's terrible. And he stayed optimistic till the end of every of all the Trek. He's a great of all the Star Wars. He's a great Star Wars guy. We love him. It's great to see you, Scar. All right, so Captain Pike puts together his away team, and we go to the transporter room. Number one, the most experienced officer is going to be left behind on the ship. When we get to the transporter room, the transporter chief looks at his instruments and starts talking to the captain. And I'm thinking, the Enterprise is truly a diverse place. Not only do we have a United Nations worth of people, which in Star Trek becomes the norm, and we're fine with this one, but we also, like, ageism wasn't a big deal. The transporter chief was about 70. He's probably 35 for 1966, but he looks fantastic. Captain Pike was the only person in the 60s who looked great for their age.
Yeah,
I'm serious. Like, my dad was a handsome dude.
Maybe Rock Hudson probably qualifies too.
But that would destroy my theory that the reason women start to get old and worn out looking is the amount of penises they see. Because Rock Hudson saw enough penises to Sirs and Madams, if we were to lay them end to end, they would stretch to the moon.
If that's the case, my wife is never going to age from this day forward.
Jeez. Now, I did want to bring up that this is an experimental episode. And I think they did some cool stuff that we don't really get to see, that kind of maybe we wish as Star Trek fans One of those was a protective jacket or like a quasi away team uniform that you really don't get often unless they throw on a spacesuit. Or they know they're going down to a blizzard planet. They'll put them in some kind of jacket.
Well, they got to be ready in case they go to the dentist.
My theory has always been
It looked
that
like those things they put on you when you get your X-rays.
They also had
really quickly.
Mhm.
My decision on that was I did not like those jackets and felt that they were superfluous and unneeded, because when I would see them go to different environments, my thought would be their clothing is probably so advanced that within a certain Overton window, it keeps them completely comfortable. You know, like it starts to snow a little bit before you need a jacket in Star Trek world if you're wearing a Starfleet uniform.
That is something that Gene Roddenberry would have thought of.
I think Gene would have liked that. I also think some of the reasons that Captain Kirk is able to fall a little further than other people is the uniform spreads out the kinetic damage. I think that there's a kinetic property to the clothing. I just, come on, if we have Kevlar, what are they going to have? And I think some of this stuff, if we look for in-world reasons that have emerged since, and a lot of people said Gene got the future wrong. I'm going to point out that, and memory engrams are simply temporarily disproven. There's no real evidence that they don't exist yet. They will be rediscovered
the other
and
thing
reproven.
on here that it was in this away team that was cool that I thought they brought with them was what you would identify as maybe a Vietnam era radio equipment backpack.
Yeah,
at least that's what it kind of looks like. But I like the thought that they brought that equipment in
foil,
those backpacks. It was like a white canvas with a bunch of metal on it. It was strange, but it had white straps. I just thought it was cool they were bringing extra equipment down, because especially on a pilot, you don't have a ton of props. But they saw it fit to bring something to make it look like, we're actually doing a scientific mission.
Yeah, they had their box lunches in there.
All right,
their MREs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
When we get down
and a
to
microwave.
this planet, and what a planet it is, we have a pretty darn good background painting. It's not as good as it would have been if they had placed it several feet further back, but HD ruins that forced perspective. Just, you can tell it's a lot closer than it's supposed to be in older aspect ratios or lower resolution. You would not have seen the shadows that made you understand the perspective was being forced. By the way, easily ignored and paramount. If you want to do another cleanup, erase the shadows. So the planet looks very cool. It looks very barren. We're not going to go back there until where no man has gone before. It's where he's going to fight Gary Mitchell. We see the same rock formations that they run past. And we don't see this planet that often again. Although at some point we do see a structure while Pike is hallucinating that we see in Errand of Mercy. We see Korg's headquarters from Errand of Mercy is actually the the Orion Castle. But we run into some survivors, and one guy says he's from the American Cochrane Institute. So that name's floating around in Gene Roddenberry's head already. I don't know what's going on. They have a still. That was what I thought. I said, there's to human ingenuity and human optimism. When Dr. Boyce later says they showed us immediately what we wanted to see, human beings thriving with dignity. I was like, that's why they gave them the still. They would have prioritized alcohol.
I was going to say, because alcohol was a universal trade good throughout the galaxy.
Well, once you see what Vina really looks like, you need the alcohol.
Well, okay. Yeah.
For a few reasons. All right.
I just think they were from backwoods Tennessee at the Cochrane Institute. So,
well, they may have been to that too.
Wouldn't the Cochrane Institute be in Bozeman, Montana? However, as we talk to these survivors of the USS Columbia, the name of their ship is the Columbia.
Oh, you're breaking up there, Admiral.
Am I?
Clear to me. 5x5 over here.
Can you guys hear Admiral Teag okay? Or?
Yep. 5x5.
So far.
Thank gosh it's just localized to you. Anyway, we speak to these guys and we see one of Rhaega's buddies from we see the guy who kisses the sky and For the Earth is Hollow and I've Kissed the Sky, and we see one of the guys who is part of the resistance cell in Return of the Archons.
Oh, that is right. That is
we see one of the
Yep.
guys from Return of the Archons.
Yep.
And we see one of the guys. We see the guy who dies at the beginning of For the Earth is Hollow, and I have kissed the sky. I have touched the sky. Sorry. Which is one of the more interesting ideas in that in that season. It's not the greatest episode, but is one of the more interesting ideas.
Sir?
Yes.
Hail to Critically
sir.
Thinking and Drinking, who just dropped
Critically, hey, CTT, it's good to see you, my friend. We were talking some Star Trek and other stuff today. He was in rap on YouTube. I'm sorry, on X. And who knows? Maybe he'll be moving over here doing more YouTubing. I'm looking for your banner, sir, so I can tell people to sub to you. Although, like he needs my help. This guy's got like 50. Are you still at 50,000? Way to go. We're doing the cage. All right, Sean, when we get down to the planet and we see the scientists, Venus steps out. I'll start with you as we have everybody tell us what they think about when beautiful Susan Oliver steps out.
So what's the question? Like
your initial, like the wow power of Venus.
Oh,
and
she's
the music and all of it.
She's something. I mean, like you see all those old men staring at her and you hear boing, 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 boing.
I immediately think, man, if this were in reality, I can't even talk about all the horrible shit that probably would have actually happened to her. Being the one woman on a planet with a bunch of men, like
she would have, like
that doesn't
Kurtzman
end
probably.
well.
You're saving us time later when we say what Kurtzman would have thought when he saw the episode. Like he started screaming the words "Me Too" over and over and over, and threw stuff at his TV.
Yeah, I don't know about that, JT. I think what Teag's saying. I mean, if you put Kurtzman there and maybe Gunn, and I could think of a few others, then yeah, you'd be right.
Exactly.
But these are science guys. They're more interested in other stuff. So,
well, this is true from all the science guys.
You can investigate that planet in 11 minutes. They've got like 18 more years with Vina. She's seen some shit. She's seen
if anything, it's Vina was coming on to them.
True.
Exactly.
Yeah. Admiral, right, I gotta share this. I gotta say. So we were talking about the Who Wants a Warm Martini thing a little bit ago. I have a screenshot of a deleted scene that they decided not to use.
Go ahead. Let's see, Sean.
Here, put that up. Oh, you got to remove us.
Ratio, yeah.
Oh wow.
Sure, it's all over the ship that you like girl drinks. I bought you this.
Well, this is the 60s. Wouldn't it be LDS?
No, yeah. Well, actually, if this had been the 70s, that would have made a lot more sense.
Okay, we got to get it off. I love grok.
I know, right? So gives vent to our best and worst instincts.
I love the expression on his face is the doctor smiling and handing him the straw.
Yeah. All right. So just so you guys get an idea of how different this is, here's our transporter scene just to share with our wonderful dear viewers. Here you go, dear viewers. Transporter. This is different. We are stiff, we are posed, and we're like everyone seems to exhale when they're done transporting. I mean, this was like the one thing I will say is this was actually a better transporter sound effect on the ear. It wasn't as cool, but it was easier on the ear than the one that they used in the first few episodes of TOS. It is really just grinding. But let's work our way around the horn. Sean, if you're done with your thoughts on Vina, let me know.
Oh, I have more thoughts, but that's later.
Resolute, when this woman comes out and she's all that and she's staring down Pike, I mean, wow. Please tell me what you thought.
The music was good. I guess she's attractive for the time. I'm not really into small blondes. They kind of creep me out for certain reasons. But I'm sure she was very attractive.
She's pretty hot. She was definitely of her time hot, but like she was like a savior show kind of chick who never had her own show because you would bring her on during like ratings week and people would just watch. Like next week we'll have beautiful Susan Oliver. By the way,
I'll say that I do like how they had her. She spoke a little oddly, which was kind of a cool touch because she would have not spoken like a normal human because she was living with the Telosians all that time. You guys ever notice that she just spoke a little weird? Like
yeah, she has an interesting intonation or whatever to her voice.
Yeah, it's not
right.
an accent.
Yeah,
I'm with an eagerness.
That was more a clue to that she had been alone all that time and that she was actually injured because remember she was an adult when she was injured, not a child.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's a menagerie thing where we think that she was there when she was young. They say in the cage, they're like, there's an adult crew member who matches your description. But let's just say, if you want to know what it takes to get a woman like Susan Oliver, in the course of her career, her boyfriend had in 1,336 games played and 4,676 at bats. He had 697 runs, 1,291 hits. My God. Home runs, 112. RBIs, 576. Base on balls, walks, 559. Struck out 623 times. Doubles, 187. Triples, 51. And stolen bases, 45. The great third baseman for the New York Yankees, Gil McDougall, her boyfriend.
Oh, wow.
Little trivia for you. That's what it takes to get a chick that hot. Pretty good baseball career. Like, not quite Hall of Fame, but like, I send that guy out there every day. Of course, maybe a Doug Glanville type.
Yeah, you need at least 3,000 hits to get in the Hall.
Well, now, remember, Gil McDougall's last year was 1951. I'm sorry. Gil McDougall started in 1951. His last year was 1960. All 10 years to the Yankees. All right, guys. So we transport down to the planet. We see some weird stuff, including Spock smiling, which I think it gives a lot of people a lot of pause. No one digs smiley Spock. No one I like my Spocks dour and smileless. And aside from the fact that one of the crew members looks a lot like the Kurgan, but younger. I mean, is this, guys, I'll let you guys decide. Is this our Kurgan here? Is this Clancy Brown? It's just he would still be around, right? Maybe like maybe Highlander's alternative facts and the Kurgan won the prize. This guy's dad's in Twilight Zone episodes.
Maybe it's Kurgan Senior.
This guy's name is like something Duryea. He was like his dad was in a Twilight Zone episode.
The smile didn't annoy me as much as that plant and the effect. I didn't think that worked well at all. I thought it was kind of stupid and a waste of time.
Like wind chimes.
Yeah, whatever that was, it looked stupid and a waste of time.
It took them way too long to get there, but here it is, the most controversial, speaking British, sorry for our American audience, the most controversial moment of this episode with smiling Spock. Now, this is why Radioactive is here. Radioactive has a theory about why Spock is smiling.
I should have known. This is the one reason why I'm here.
You flirt us every time with this.
Just to explain this whole thing. Well, it's very simple. See, at this point in time, Spock is just a lieutenant. He's single. He's not married. Okay. He just bought his first Space Corvette. I'm telling you.
Marrying to Pring is 20 years in the future. Yeah, like 13 years in the future. No problems.
Yeah, now keep in mind, Spock is actually only 24 years old in this episode. I'm not talking the actor. I'm talking the character, right?
Right.
He's only 24. He's already a captain Oh, well, I should
Science
say,
officer.
well, he's a lieutenant in the Navy, so captain in
Lieutenant
the other
Commander
services.
Spock,
But
yes.
no, he's not lieutenant commander yet. He's lieutenant. He's an 03.
Okay.
So he's
Thank you.
rolling in the dough. Okay. Now think about what happens 13 years later. He's married. He's estranged from his wife to Pring.
Well, he's not
Okay.
married, is he? He's not married to her yet. He has
Well,
to go.
presumably he's not married here. Now, I came up with an alternative explanation. He's married here to Pring, but they're probably newlyweds, so he's getting a lot of something, which explains why he's so happy. Because keep in mind, he's still half
That
elf and half
actress was
human.
gorgeous.
Yeah, so he's going, man, I'm living the life. I'm here touching the squiggly little plant that like has wind chime effect, and I'm making lots of bank. By the time he gets to TOS, he's on the verge of a divorce. He's estranged from his wife. She's going to take him for everything he's got. He's pissed. And he's not getting any. Because you know that, because by AMOC time, look what happens. He's throwing things
this
around.
Is the kind of chicks that he's running into every day, so think of how much you can get.
Exactly. Teag, you're starting to figure out the military mindset here.
On the left, we have tubercular fossil piece of shit, Dr. Boyce. In the middle, we have gorgeous. What did Buddy say?
Where is it? Where is it? Oh, yeah, there.
Wow.
We've got some wild Navy guy here. The sleeve rank never represents USN and Starfleet. It's damn peculiar. They said that when they got to the movies, they had actual like military guys like work it out. Like the writers were both ex-military, and they watched the show and they're like, yeah, it didn't make sense. So I allegedly in the movies, when the movies by that team, the first 3 or 4 of them, from 2 to like 6, I guess, the uniforms have logic, the symbols of rank have logic, and they said like one of the most fun things we got to do was sit down and make up all the ranks and regalia for an imaginary military. That was actually fun. We did that to blow off steam while like between writing sessions. Like that's how we refreshed our brains. Like, hey, you know what? While we figure out like how powerful the Romulan ale is and consider this scene where Kirk talks about being old, why don't we like come up with what his uniform would look like? You know, well, why don't we figure out what an admiral symbol looks like? How many pins would he have? You know what? The overthought uniform was great. Although the aircraft carrier based color coded uniforms that we're going to get for TOS, which is the best way I could think of to put it, and Roddenberry had seen that at firsthand. You know, here we have, you know, our jackets that make sense, but I think we're superfluous. And I did not like the jackets when they opened them up. They were blousy and loose, and they looked like Crockett's jacket from Miami Vice. Vina,
are you talking from the Wrath of Khan jacket?
No, I'm talking about these jackets. The Wrath of Khan jackets are fucking awesome. I'd wear one to work unironically.
They needed to keep these jackets. Imagine what they would sell for today if they had run throughout the entire series.
You like the jackets, is what you're saying.
They'd be a hell of a collector's item.
Germ, did you give your opinion on Vina? Oh, that's right. You did. Small blonde woman. Okay. JT, Susan Oliver saved a lot of TV shows. She was on Petticoat Junction all the time, Green Acres, all sorts of good 60s stuff. She's very fappable from a late 50s, early 60s perspective. Your thoughts? Vina comes out and she's just got like one of the first actresses to know how to like project sex with her eyes. Or is that maybe early, really good Star Trek cinematography? JT, did you get called away?
I think he had to step away.
Yeah.
It sounded like some beatings needed to start taking place back there.
Yeah, you look at Susan Oliver. Okay, so those bags we were talking about, that's their equipment. Vina shows up. She talks to Pike, and she's talking to him real weird. She's like, "You are a healthy specimen."
We didn't get Radioactive's take on Vina.
Radioactive, give us your take on Vina. Thank you, Sean.
Very interesting. I wouldn't kick her out of bed for eating crackers, would you?
I wouldn't kick her out of bed for smoking
I just
crack.
looked up her height. She was like 5'5", apparently. That's what it says.
Average height. Slightly tall for a woman.
That's pretty decent height.
I just want to say, if these guys could work their way through life on this planet, how come Grandpa from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory never just gets out of that fucking bed until he has a chance to be a millionaire? But okay. She lures Pike away. And that's when we find out that, little Pike does most of the tactical thinking.
Yeah.
This is on the previously on from Strange New Worlds. They show this sequence where Venus sort of lures Pike up onto this escarpment or bluff or whatever, up on this, figure of rocks that is going to fall onto Gary Mitchell in a few weeks or a couple of years. It's the same place, it's the same area.
It's the same one, yeah.
It also looks a hell of a lot like Armis's planet, but I mean, we know that too much time passed. Might have been the same stage, though. I think they got their old production facility back when they went back to TV. But there they are. And Vina helps the Telosians kidnap Pike. And that's when we get some great space action that's unnecessary. To be honest, the Telosians come out, they zap Pike with their weapon. All the illusionary people disappear.
It was a pixie stick, wasn't it?
I'll show
Remember those?
It's super non-cis, guys. Okay, it's not very cis, is the way I'll put it.
It reminded me of the pixie stick candy. Remember those things?
I remember. You're right.
That's all that was.
Well, either that, or it was definitely the pixie stick.
Or
candy.
it was the straw that Dr. Boyce gave to Pike earlier in the cabin.
Oh, jeez.
You're back. Oh, JT's back.
Yes, I am.
Did you have to go initiate some beatings
after looking at beautiful Susan Oliver?
No.
No, I heard the kids causing noise back there. That's what I was like.
Oh, no, I was on mute the whole time.
Oh, you were? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that was me, and they're not my kids, so their parents have some type of problem with me beating them.
I had to use the 3 seashells. So
yeah,
that was all.
There was a private shot I caught.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, you've got to see this one.
Needed JT when you left. Admiral was asking your thoughts on Vina.
Let's put her on screen.
Oh, the lady?
She is.
Yeah,
she's all right.
Beautiful Susan.
She's all right.
Yeah, you know what? Once I saw her dance, I gotta say, the girls from Bound were hotter. The girls from Bound were hotter as green chicks. They really were. Those were 3 smoking hot green chicks, though. They scoured the world for 3 hot green chicks. Oh my God.
I was just thinking, they're all living on this planet. How do they have any food? Because they said the planet was completely barren. A lot of questions like that would immediately start coming up. But I also have to think she probably has had no toothpaste in her entire life. So he's actually standing pretty close.
He's upwind. He's upwind. All right, so here it is, guys. Just so you know, this was the effect. All the illusory people disappear like this. They kind of fade away, and then we get the ripple. So that's our effect. Then the Telosians come and grab Pike, like you saw, and our Starfleet people go apeshit. Tomorrow is usually when I review a show with this much gunfire. They go completely Crockett and Tubbs and start firing indiscriminately at the Telosian structure, like in a way that is, I don't know, I wouldn't say like dumb, but maybe think about it a little bit. Like they just grabbed your captain, and you have instruments to scan this. They start firing at this. The door is immediately exposed. I guess the Telosians can't constantly use the power of illusion, or we won't be able to follow the story. So I'm going to call this, rather than inconsistency, a very good cohesive choice, because it doesn't tear you out of the narrative. It keeps you grounded in it. If these weapons were fired to no effect, it would have been much worse. Anybody want to chime in on that? Everybody blasts away at this. We have 4 phasers firing at once at one point.
Yeah, it's a lot of pew-pews.
This was a great section of the episode, by the way, or show, since it's the cage, not the menagerie. But
well, the range on the ship has been out of commission for a couple months. So they were just really like, yeah, we got to get our count in.
Well, after Rigel 7, they decided, you know what, let's just go postal.
That's true.
I can't say no.
By the way, someone mentioned the actors from Catspaw in the private chat, which is the show within the show. He gets the Catspaw offer while he's in this menagerie. They realize they can't get their captain back. And this is where I'm going to say that this was another terrible choice for your first episode of Star Trek. Now, there's no Star Trek yet when they make this decision. One, the roll neck sweater is still a solid fashion choice, but their belts suck. They are Army surplus spray painted silver. And this is where you can really get the idea. These jackets aren't that great. They look like shit. They needed a lot of tailoring. It's an army, it's like a Soviet army blanket or something.
It's just this guy, that towhead looks a lot like Tucker.
He might be. He has
looks a lot like Trip.
He's like an ugly Trip. He's like Trip's parents did meth after they had Trip, and then they had another kid. It's like, we were into LSD when we had Trip. That's why he's handsome and mercurial and has an artist mind and can fix things. But before we had Elizabeth, we did a lot of math. Then she transitioned. All right, but yeah, this guy, he's not a handsome dude. He also, Spock was limping earlier in this episode. We see their other communicators. I guess, it's a show about Star Trek. We'll show you their gear. There's the other communicator, a lot bulkier. A lot of it is plexiglass. We can see the circuitry. In a few ways, it's a little more imaginative than the communicator we get later. It said, I think Gene sat down with his people after he saw the laser rifle they devised for where no man has gone before, and he's like, yeah, I want things to look functional. I don't want things to look sci-fi more than I want them to look like they would actually work. Mm-hmm. I think that was a conversation, because we never see that phaser rifle again, and we know that phaser rifles make a comeback, but I mean, they've been completely redesigned. The concept of the phasers, like, refined, and it's stronger, and they keep calling what they don't have phasers. These guys have lasers. They have lasers. I don't know what happened to their phase pistols.
They became laser pistols.
We'll see these lasers again next week. It's messed up. That's a 30-year-old joke next year. We see these lasers.
Laser beams. Yeah.
30 years.
That movie is getting old.
Yeah, they're making a sequel, don't you?
Yeah, number 4 is coming.
Now we found out how long you can last on on 2 funny and 1 mediocre movies, as you just like milk it for all you've got. Mike Myers is finally broken up to have to go back to work.
Are they going to bring back Fook You and Fook Me?
Good question.
Let's bring back their granddaughters. Pike wakes up in the cage, and we have this really weird conversation with the cage keepers, and that's where they understand, welcome to this year's Big Brother. And we have not just the freaky ass Birdman that I've spoken of often, but the freaky ass Pig Man as well. Okay.
I believe he prefers the term person of man, bear, pig.
There you go.
Okay.
The porcine individual. He identifies as a pig. All right, fuck you.
Okay. Good night, M5 tie-in. See ya.
M5 tie-in.
He's clearly half man, half bear, pig.
Clearly. All right. So we're seeing what's going on in this episode of Star Trek. We're a little behind schedule, so the Telosians show up and they're dicks. And I'm trying to figure out. I'm guessing the shorter one is actually Commodore Mendez, and we're using forced perspective. I can't tell. One of the Telosians is actually Commodore Mendez. They might not be the one in this picture, or maybe it's one of the two in back. There is a primary Telosian who's not among them, who does the arm swiping and changes the illusion when they watch them on the Flintstone-style TV screen that the Telosians have. Now, the Telosians, I would just point out, this is where we have our quick discussion about reality TV. The Telosians were forced underground by a prolonged war on the surface of their planet. It's only just recovering now. And Venus is thousands of centuries ago. So this is like Exegol level of problems with the food, but we don't have to spend the whole movie thinking about it. And we don't have to, we're going to leave this planet and they have like really super advanced technology. We actually get enough on the Telosians to figure maybe they have something like the NX-01 has that makes food out of poop and pee.
Yeah. Protein resequencer.
Which, by the way, if I was in Janeway's shoes and I had Tuvix, I would have used the extra poop and pee to create Tuvok and Neelix because they deserve to be made out of it. What do you think of that? Especially after what we've seen from Tim Russ. Like, Tuvok, you're made out of feces now, like the actor who plays you. Give me your communicator and your smartphone. Chakotay, take him to the brig. Okay, I think the one on the left is possibly Mendez. The thing is, with this episode, they're keeping things so economical that they don't want to give this guy a second residual check. They're like, bring him back. We're not paying him. We'll pay him again so that we don't have to pay him 4 times. They saved one check. They're like, we can't produce another guy and another trail of residuals. Get one of the Telosians back. And we can see here that they are taller. Like, not all of them are women. 1 or 2 of them are actually men. They are great aliens. That is the high point of this. The Telosians are absolutely great aliens.
Yeah.
And they're space Yahtzees. Their feelings about Pike, how they're going to use them, their Truman Show, keeping up with the Kardashians sort of outlook on him. Like, I thought the primary Telosian antagonist, the one on the right, the one who's more of an asshole, that reminded me of the Kardashians' mother. That would be the mom Kardashian, the one that we strongly suspect had sex with OJ. I'm thinking that's what the hell is Mother Kardashian's name? I've never watched that show. I've managed to make it.
Don't know.
Yeah. Ex-Mrs. widow of Robert Kardashian. Ex-Mrs. Bruce Jenner. Do you think this? I don't even want to know. Forget about that. Kris Jenner, that's her name. I can't believe I remembered that. What is wrong with me? All right. So the Telosians, they're dicks. This is one of the most iconic images from the episode. I believe this is one of the stills. You see this a lot.
Yeah, that's probably the number one image that's taken out of this episode and used around the internet to cover, talk streams about it.
They look great.
Picture off of the VHS, the official VHS they sold. So it was for years the most common one they had out there.
It is the freeze frame from the episode, and I'm starting to more believe that could be Mendez the more I look at the one on the left. I'm not positive, but whatever. I do admire their Beastie Boys like flair and their metal mesh clothes that Pike doesn't like. Whatever. They taunt him, and he makes profits out of them. They're like, in a show of force to impress us, he will now throw himself against the transparency. He's like, well, they think I'm an idiot. I can't let them down. And he does it. I might have kicked at it to show some contempt for them rather than throw my shoulder at it. I might be needing that arm to, He's going to use it later to try to rub one of them out. Maybe the word delete them would be bad. He's going to try to delete some of the Telosians later. Back on the ship, we have a conference where Gene Roddenberry does something he's very good at, make sure both hot women are on camera at the same time.
Now, they could have made Nurse Chapel in Strange New Lows look like this.
They absolutely
chose not to.
I'll just
Which
point out
one?
Laurel. Either would have been better.
Oh.
Laurel Goodwin, by the way, on the left, she is connected to the final appearance of canonical Star Trek from this continuity in my heart. She is the connective tissue to the first ever Star Trek. They, for some reason, wanted a cage connection in the unification 7184365 or whatever it is. That's her serial number. It's from some weird comic book. So,
really?
So Laurel Holt is the name of the character. Ensign Colt is the name of the character. She's going to be one of the.
Wait, isn't her name in that somewhere on the wall or something like that?
I think so. She's one of the names we see. Yeah, I think so.
I wonder what made them pick that. There had to have been some reason.
I don't know.
Or what? For unification?
I think the reason is because
same
there's
reason
already
why
an episode.
Same reason why everybody else wanted to see her. She's pretty hot. So
no, I mean the name. The her serial number.
She's referenced in there, and that thing is the name is after her.
I think it's to tie it to the very first ever.
Oh, that's like her serial number, her Starfleet serial number.
To tie unification to the very first piece of Star Trek ever is my opinion. Because that's what they considered it, and also I believe it's this. There's already an episode called Unification, so by putting the numbers in, they can reuse it. So they had a mercenary reason. What do you guys think of their retro futuristic tech here? It's not ready yet. This doesn't work. It's not that great.
It worked for me. At least it worked for me at the time. So
you know what it screams to me? It doesn't not work so much as, you know what it screams to me? Tear that top piece off. It looks a lot more Star Trek. This screams to me, this looks like something that belongs to the Jupiter 6, doesn't it? This looks like Lost in Space.
Or Jupiter 2.
Sorry, the Jupiter 2. Well, the Jupiter 6 has them too. By the way, Boyce's Starfleet logo is pointed in towards his head. It's not on there the right way. It looks like these are badges rather than Sodon.
This scene was colorized for you, Admiral. It's actually black and white, the original cut. Like halfway through the scene, it just cuts into black and white. So kind of impressed they were able to colorize it that well.
You saw an improved one. What they did on TV was, when we saw it, the cage parts were all black and white. It was meant to look like that. Was how you knew it was the flashback, and it was supposed to be like, oh, this must be their log tape. We didn't realize that Star Trek proper was made after the unification of the TV color sequencing, and that they were part of the networks that switched, I guess, is what happens. So Boyce explains their powers of illusion are extremely powerful. They really shouldn't mess around. Something that Vina doubles down on. We spend a lot of time explaining them. Some of it's a little goofy. They didn't have their space legs yet. I mean, I laughed. I'm sorry, I laughed. Like, brains 3 times the size of ours. And I'm thinking, like, I know some people with some giant heads who aren't that smart, you know?
What do you think about the Afghanistan castle that they show
from Rigel? It's all right. It looks a little too earthly. Here we are. We're watching some reality TV. They're watching Pike on the Flintstones TV in the Telosian Control Center. I'll see if I can't get the primary Telosian in frame. One of them is called Magistrate. One of them is called Keeper. I believe the Keeper is Mendez. It might be one of these two. We have our 2 named Telosians. Maybe it's him on the right. I think on the right.
Mendez.
Yeah, the one on the right in back is Mendez. All right, that mystery is solved. We don't have to get too deeply into this because they have reality TV adventures. He relives his adventure on Rigel. There's some prop failures that have been well documented. We'll give you a look at their opponent. He's 8 feet tall, And I'm just going to say I'm very glad that they got rid of Captain Pike from this ship. Although he was brave enough to save those cadets from the Delta waves, they suffered his fate. So, like, what was the point of really saving them to live like him? Also, this guy is 8 feet fucking tall and beats the fuck out of humans. This is when I pull out my weapon and shoot him with my gun. I would have used, like, a weapon on this guy, like a force equalizer. He's 8 feet tall. I'm a human. And the only backup I have is a 5'5", 110-pound woman.
You're using the heater. You're using your heater.
She's hitting him with the Morning Star, and it's not even like phasing this guy. Pike has to throw a
she rolled a natural one, so she's not. It's a critical miss.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. I think Admiral, you're right. You take out your heater and you give him a piece of the action. That's about the only thing you can do.
It's all he can do, but instead Pike, like the idiot he is, he's like, oh, look, a Roman gladius, and he throws it with 100% precision, like 60 feet with almost lethal force. But this thing is like some kind of weirdo whose organs are moved around, turns around, laughs it off. She hits it like twice with the Morning Star. He ignores her, jumps on him, and impales himself because Pike is like some kind of scary genius, and this thing is an idiot who's enraged. I mean, he's so smart that he doesn't take out his weapon. He has superior tech that would have ended this fight, and he wouldn't have had anything to worry about. This is Rigel. We're going to go back there and make this into the population center of the entire Federation. But there's a lot of planets. What did we say, 7 on this one? So this one's kind of far from, maybe kind of further from the sun, or there's a lot of planets in the Goldilocks zone, and they just like whatever. I mean, like this one's got its own native inhabitants who are weird and violent. No one goes there, and Pike just does. I don't know, but here's another example of how the jackets just aren't as great as they look when you're standing there with your arms at your side. They bunch up, they suck. When you open them, they're a mess. They got rid of these because they looked great. They didn't wear well. Like, and here we have something. We'll revisit this kind of Star Trek for gamesters, but
or it was just an added cost, right? One more thing you have to have fit on all the extras.
If they wanted to do it that way, you are right. It could have been that. I just think that he doesn't like the way. Look at it here. It doesn't really look great. Anybody thoughts on this uniform? Because we're going to move away from it fast.
They couldn't have had a lot of money for wardrobe.
Yeah, those jackets are probably more expensive than everything else he has.
They had enough to kid out the entire landing party for every episode until you start getting tiny women. They definitely had enough.
But the jackets, I think, because if you notice, they're all kind of oversized and loose. I think they made them that way on purpose so that the cast could just share them. Just put the jacket on and go.
They're not your hero props yet. They made a Star Trek movie, though. This was intended to be aired. I found that out. This was absolutely intended to be aired. So, I mean, they think this is screen ready. We could see subtle differences just in the cut of the pants and trousers, changes in just 2 years. By the way, did anyone notice on the bridge, people's trousers are riding up and we can see some thigh on guys?
Really?
Yeah. I don't know.
I wasn't looking.
I was shocked.
You to be checking out, Admiral.
You know what? When you just see it, you're like, wait, why am I seeing skin? So Pike relives his fight from a couple of weeks before. After reluctantly participating, Vina tells him, you'll feel everything. It's going to suck. Then she gives him the old I can be any woman speech. Then the Telosians taunt them for a while. And we sort of see, this 60s sort of beauty.
So she's Whitney Houston now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nothing a warm bath won't fix if you find that annoying, but yeah. And you know what? We've gone from Bobby Brown's time to Millie Bobby Brown's time since this episode was aired. But here we see 60s beauty right on display and what it means. She's pretty in the face. She's got a pretty good figure. She has what I would call in New York sort of a 1960s Upper West Side like society chick. Doesn't she look like she also has like a ton of dough And like, you know what I mean? Like her husband like runs like, you know, Boeing or some shit like that. She looks like a 60s trophy wife. She's pretty damn hot in a 60s kind of way.
Yeah.
There you go.
They I'll try to get it for you with the smile. Let me see if I can't freeze frame that. There she is, looking her happiest and her prettiest, showing off her smile. And this was a very in-demand actress. It shows how serious the network took it. And here she is. They only keep her to show her at the end of every episode. There were people who stuck around to see the green chick. I was one of them as a little kid. I was in love with the green chick at the end. Was anybody not? She was so fascinating and so cool. And so,
well, it's the music that went with her. That's also what.
I don't do it as good as Doomcock, but yeah. So meanwhile, while this is going on, our crew has to rescue our captain. This is a huge mistake for your pilot. Your Star Trek pilot, where your captain needs to be rescued by his geriatric crew and a bunch of women. This just doesn't make him look strong. He doesn't look like a badass. Kirk goes down to the planet to take on Gary Mitchell alone. He doesn't get captured. Getting your captain captured does not make for a strong-looking captain. Thoughts around the panel real quick. Either so say we all, or you want to build on it, or if you just want to so say we all, or dispute it. Go ahead.
So say we all. I mean, which is clear that the network felt the same way, because they went the complete opposite way where no man has gone before. So they had to have given Gene some notes like, no, the captain needs to be a badass.
Also in this scene, I so say we all, but also in this scene, number one is holding a communicator, and her nails appear to be so long that there's no way she could press any buttons or act or type.
They don't know they have the job yet, but you're right. They want her to look great. They want to look great. I mean, hey, how does Cynthia Erivo wipe? You know, this nothing compared to that. So I'm ready to believe anything. Gene Roddenberry would have been able to explain it to how she was able to do it. I mean, he thought through these things, but, you know, very common run-of-the-mill looking ski goggles that are familiar at the time. There's nothing very exciting or futuristic about this, although I'll show you yet another iconic image from the episode.
You could also look like you could look at atomic explosions with those.
Well, yeah, that's
I don't think you can.
Well, that would be the whole idea, is that these things.
But yeah, all right, makes sense.
These are supposed to be like OD10 optical filters.
How come in the future there's
huh?
How come in the future people have forgotten how to wear goggles and strap them under their ears? What the hell is going on?
Good question.
I never realized that. Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, until such time as you pointed that out, I'd never noticed that before. I guess hair and makeup said, "You put that stupid strap over your hair we just fixed up for you. We're going to kill you." So he goes, "Okay, I'll put it down below."
So here's one more. Star Trek did it first. Hey, look, it's miniaturized Death Star tech. They're going to break into the base on Crate, and they're going to get to Rey and Finn and all the other heroes and Princess Leia Organa. They fucking ripped it off. It's the same visual. It looks almost exactly the same. Same shit. It's drawing power from the ship and using it to. Didn't that gun on the planet have to like get power from one of the Star Destroyers?
Yeah, but this one doesn't run on hate like the Star Wars ones did.
This one runs on testosterone. Those run on estrogen.
I always liked that giant laser cannon they brought down. I was like, damn, we should have had more of that in Star Trek, but oh well.
I like it too. Can I just say it looked better in Forbidden Planet when we saw it the first time? This was another way too Forbidden Planet element in the episode.
We get it again, but that's when Data's jumping around that room trying to avoid it.
I think
ChatGPT controlling the laser, you know.
Well, for the time that this was made in the 60s, this was super high tech. Keep in mind, nobody, let me see, the first optical laser was created, what, in 62, 63 time frame? I want to say.
That's about right.
Yeah, but didn't like old Buck Rogers have lasers and stuff like that?
Well,
looked like
they had ray guns. They didn't. They
okay.
didn't. An actual laser wasn't created until like 63, I think. The first ruby laser was. Let me look it up.
We can solve this easy. When does the opening? When does the cold open for Austin Powers happen? Because Dr. Evil has one.
That's not a historical documentary, sir.
We do a long series of adventures in this cage that they keep Pike in. He sees his old horse Bojack. He goes on different adventures.
Bojack.
Bring it up, Admiral. Yeah, I'm fully expecting the penguins from Mary Poppins to come flying in on this scene any second now.
Check my private chat.
Supercalifragilistic. Yeah.
What's not let on, but hey guys, I didn't know there would be thermoses in the future. This is a pretty good set, except that I don't know why they chose to shoot it in the Brady Bunch's backyard, but okay. I love the matte painting of the city off in the distance. He says that's Mojave. It's where I was born. So I guess it's desert
Santa
Southwest. He says Mojave, doesn't he?
No, Santa Fe. He's supposed to be in Nuevo Mexico. Santa Fe.
Okay. And the horse's name is Tango.
Tango. Okay.
And the other one's name is Cash.
I knew that was coming. I didn't have to feed that one out. I just had to let it breathe. All right. So, one thing we're doing here is we're objectifying both our good-looking actors. The painting in the background is pretty cool. And then they start talking in code. That's something that we don't get in the menagerie, where she's like, honey, if you talk about things that displease them, I'll get my headaches again. And he's like, yeah, I'm really sorry about the headaches. And he's starting to bond with her. And this is where she tells him about the war and devastation on Talos. Also tells them about that they live on reality TV and that they can't read through hate, which is not a smart thing to tell Pike, because he's a kind of, at this point he shows us that he can be kind of a hateful guy. And I'm sorry, the reason I'm looking around in confusion is because the lighting conditions in my apartment just changed because the street light across the street just went out. Hopefully someone shot it out, because it's annoying as hell.
Well, didn't anyone tell him that love trumps hate? I've seen that on all these weirdo bumper stickers everywhere.
By the way, this week you don't grade the episode. Maybe I should take that. I threw up any banner I could so that our names would come off the for a little while, so that we could see our faces in the configuration we had earlier. But what you can do is decide whether or not this is Star Trek. It's still a very borderline call. I'm leaning right now. I'm leaning towards Gene Roddenberry's The Cage, is what this is. We have very deep fundamental differences. This is like this. How do I put it? Unless we take plan B, this will grow into some form of Star Trek. It's good that we change plans, and maybe the aesthetic was different. This was not all the way there yet. Gene Roddenberry put that year of developing the other story to very good use. When we come back, he's on the same page with all the people, and he's got his correct people to do this. So there we go. They're watching him on TV. Our two attractive actors, and another piece of gear that Gene probably just wanted for himself. Is like, you know what? I've already got the world's greatest martini mix. I said I wouldn't mind a picnic basket to go with it. So then she's, gives him the best part of the episode, another very visual part. I just want to say, Avatar potential right here. We don't see a guy this gloriously decadent again until Pro Council.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
maybe Korob. Korob was pretty dished out.
What's
from Cat's Paw?
Yes, and what I love about Korob is I think his outfit shows up again on the guy who runs the games for the games, just a Triskelion. I think it's the same outfit.
Could be.
they have like motion control or whatever, sensor control. Like the head Telosian just like waves their hand. Now I don't know if it's using their magic or whatever, but it's not.
No,
magic,
they
it's
don't have
connect.
telekinesis.
They do have telepathy, but not telekinesis.
Yeah.
They can communicate, but they don't have telekinesis. You are correct, sir. So they have motion sensitive tech, or their tech is built into is now integrated into their bodies. We don't know.
That old school Microsoft stuff from about 10 years ago.
They
the
have
Kinect. They have a Kinect.
Yeah, they have a Kinect.
So here's Pike checking out Vina in her green dancing outfit. And I just want to say, that's my boy. This is the Strange New Worlds Pike. He's dressed like a chick. He looks like Steven Tyler put on more of his wife's clothes than he usually does.
Question for the people that are a little more seasoned on the panel. What is it with like every show before like 1990 depicting every Middle Eastern venue as like a bunch of guys laying around eating grapes on the floor, and then like a bunch of like Near Eastern instruments, and then belly dancing? That's like every scene. I mean, even George Lucas does something like that in the cantina.
You're asking why they did that?
I'm goddamn glad they did.
Was that truly the image of what they thought the Middle East was?
Hey, it's Hollywood. They don't get out much.
Wait, are you trying to tell me that's not what the Middle East is?
They didn't.
Hey, I mean, you see that same thing.
Show a bunch of accurate stuff about the actual culture over there.
Yeah.
The Middle East to them was India. So if it existed in India, it all the way to Greece.
I love this Star
Good point.
Does anyone want this uniform, by the way? This is a cool uniform variant. I really like it.
Nice place you have here, Mr. Pike.
Yeah, this is one of the smarmiest people to ever be associated with Starfleet ever. Anybody on this guy? I mean, what the hell? Why is this guy in Starfleet?
Because he's captain of the garbage scow. No,
True. Maybe.
Well, he said
I thought
the
he was-
slimiest. I mean, he's probably he's part of the sanitation fleet.
I thought he was in charge of the space station over planet Me Too.
Yeah,
Well,
the whole
maybe he was.
conversation makes it sound like he is here to justify Alex Kurtzman, because I can just imagine Kurtzman watching this. He's like, yeah, great place you got here. And then the next thing we get from these guys, these two weirdos hanging out with Pike, Pimp Pike. I mean, and he is a space pimp in this one. Space Pimp Pike, they're like, I hear the women here like it all non-consensual. To which I'm like, this is appealing. Why?
Yeah. But you know, in Kurtzman, it would have been a rave club. The 90s rave dance place.
Well, we saw his like exotic locations, his windmill made of cheesecloth, and the space station that was a bar. So yeah, we know what his version of the future is going to be like, and this is definitely much better.
Phantom Outsider seems to believe or suggest that Moroccan cuisine was big in the 1960s, and so everything was Morocco.
That would make
that, and like at the time they're making this, the Beatles are going to hang out with the Maharaja, aren't they? I think this is when the Beatles go to India.
But wasn't that 67 or was that earlier?
I think it was, it's 65 now, so they're probably talking about him and wearing the Nehru suits already. We know they're doing that from 64. So that becomes like hip in the Western culture, like at that point. All right. So here we never, I don't know if we see these sets again. We might see them in Plato's Stepchildren. I'm just not sure. But my God, does she ever look great? The girls in Bound actually look better, though. I will say this. I wish they'd shown her dance more, but I don't know that she was known for her great dancing. So all she could do is wave her arms around and look kind of sexy.
She did a pretty good hip roll.
She did. She was good. It was whatever the dance routine in Bound was awesome. That the whole thing they did in Bound was awesome. It was really well thought out. That one girl who like seemed to be in charge of it, she had like some choreographing skill or something like that. Like the one chick who had no lines was a professional choreographer, right? And dancer. So she did the dance. Then the one who had most of the lines, she was Gul Dukat's daughter in 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine. They're familiar with her. Yeah. They're familiar
that was Gul
with her.
Dukat's daughter?
The prime one.
And she grew up.
Yeah. And so when they had them do that dance, like they knew they could count on that one actress to do the acting. Like if you notice, one stands there and poses and is just beautiful. Another one does some kind of dancing, and the one in the back does the most movement to create like all the kinetic energy on the screen or whatever you want to call it, all the movement on the screen. That's the one who's the real dancer, and she does like the undulating and stuff like this. But yeah, she does do a good hip roll and a little bit of good belly dancing. But like, where's Krimlon when you need him to confirm that? Yeah, belly dancing was big for a while. Okay, so this part of the cage is not in the menagerie. Pike, like the wuss that he is, and I can't take it, is dressed like a chick. Gaiden has nothing on Pike here, although I mean it's a little cooler because it's supposed to be the planet's like garb. And yeah, here's the deal. Also, they're reclining at table. I think the deal is they borrowed from Romans, right? And they got the fruit bowl from the continental breakfast at the Holiday Inn. Pike runs away at this point, scared of Vina because she's just too scary hot. And like we see yet another manual door in this episode. And this is like one of the things that he's this technological guy. He runs a starship and he's like, what is that emanating from the top of those sticks? It's like, why are you fascinated by fire, monkey man? But whatever. Vina follows him in. The wall, like the walls literally close in. Vina follows him in. And this is where Vina kind of looks like she's been hanging out with the guys from Motley Crue using the same dirty needle over and over and over. Just this look, it was about her body, this sequence, her face not hitting a home run with this look, but it's fine. It's not like she's hideous. This was not the best look for her.
Yeah.
They also, like, you can kind of see her Caucasoid skin in the corners of the eyes. Back on the ship, we have a little talk about how things don't work out. Let's see if we see it.
I believe you mean pink skin, human.
That is true. Inbound, we had a much better dance and much better Orions. We improved the Orions. I would say every time after this we see the Orions, we continue to improve them because the next Orion we see, I believe, is Yvonne Craig, Lord Goth's girlfriend.
Right.
And as Sean said, here's our backpack. We're trying. We're going to make it look like we're up to something. We're going to make it look like we have some gear. We don't know how yet. Like we borrowed these phasers from some other weird show. They don't quite work. I'm just trying to queue up a spot here. I'm going to see if we can't catch the we don't get it, but in the scene that's in the menagerie, I believe, but not the cage because it's edited so fucking weird. This guy takes off his glasses. Like when they walk in, he's wearing glasses. And I think what happened was there was probably a talk on set, like, the extras wearing glasses and they're like, it's the future. And they're like, well, what do you mean? It's like, there'll be something like Retinox 4 or Retinox 5. Like, they'll be able to just like, spray it in their eyes and see. So like lose the glasses. No one in the future wears glasses. They look too 20th century. So I think a decision was made between moments because we only see him for a half second. They're like, don't worry, no one will notice. But as we can see, the gooseneck monitors, they're just everywhere. They are cool. There's too many. That's my feeling. Now in TAS, they go back to having a lot of them, which would lead you to believe that it is a price point problem. And this is where they
for glasses.
No, not for the glasses. For
the goosey things,
the gooseneck things. Yeah, the glasses. We could get them for $20, I'm pretty sure, or less. Maybe even $5. A little extra if you want the nose attached to them. But here we have only our female characters energize and beam away. They're in Pike's cage, and Vina throws a fit. She's like, "Let me finish." I wasn't done messing with him, and they're like,
"Can I finish, please?"
Angry Vina having a fit. She looks a little like Veruca Salt here. She's a blonde Veruca Salt. She's having a bad day.
No.
Now that Veruca Salt is 70, can we get pictures of the actress when she hit like 25 to see if it's true? Like, naturally angry women grow up to be good looking. We can test that theory now, without being considering she's like much older than us. All right, so this is when the chicks from the Enterprise they're not good with what's going on this planet. They're not digesting it well. She's like, offspring, and they're getting this from Vina. They're like, what's with her? And number one has done her homework. She acts very Spock-like and interrogates Vina. Then the Telosians come back and they're like, since you didn't like our offer of being a space pimp with one chick, you can now have foursomes all day long. You have your own love tribe. Plus, one of them can turn into any woman you like, so you'll never get bored for sure. And he's still a dick about the whole thing and doesn't want to stay in the cage. And then he gets angry and stays angry. Reminds me of someone we know, right? Like stays angry, just absolutely goes crazy. Kind of raises it to a fine art form, And it's just like, how do you put it? Like, she says to him, how long can you stay angry for? And he doesn't have the superpower of the guy we're thinking about. And how do we put it? A lot of air comes out of his anger. It's gone. The anger's gone. And they can read his mind again. And it doesn't serve him very well. Back on the Enterprise, they start messing with the ship technically. And this is when Vina's like, don't fuck with them. They can just, they'll just take the next person or they'll have your crew like press a button that like has their ship self-destruct. They don't care. You've seen how callous they are.
Pike should have tried it out for a little while and then decided it wasn't for him.
Yeah, I would have been like, let me communicate with my ship and tell them to come back in about 3 months.
It's a good thing the Telosians didn't capture my wife, because they would have said, how long can you stay angry for? My wife would be like, oh, please hold my beer.
The record I saw.
It's not anybody's wife. They're just like, I can stay angry for years.
I got divorced after 10 months of the anger. I'm like, it's not going away. Fuck this. And they
should have invited the Telosians back to Earth. Then they would have really found out what anger was like, right?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. My ex-wife was like, I don't understand why you're not showing loyalty and staying with me. And I'm like, you've been pissed off for a whole year and you're not calming down over bullshit. And you just keep on getting angrier. And she was just like, but we're supposed to be married. And I'm like, yeah, I got news for you, baby. It's 2008, not 1908. I'm fucking out of here. Fuck you. You can go yell at somebody else. Tell it to husband number 2. I'm gone. Anyway, I love these faces the chicks are making here. They're like, the fuck? They're absolutely.
Hey, that's their O.
Their O face. Magil Barrett looks like she's having like a mild like stroke here. It's like we just caught her in a blink. We've done it a million times on this show. So while the Telosians sneak into the cage, Pike grabs the pistol, blasts a hole in the wall, says, I think you're keeping me from seeing it. They reveal that he is. Back on the ship, one of the things they do is they read all the literature of the on the library computer of the ship, including this, which I think that they're in touch with the Savage Curtain aliens. Anybody?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they read the entire library of man's whole existence. Then Pike, holding a weapon on this guy, and they leave to the shattered remains of Gary Mitchell's final resting place. It's going to look that way when we get back there in a couple of weeks. I'm almost positive this is the same place. And you know what? It's a good place to leave Armis if he wants to be a dick about things.
Sir,
But,
Admiral?
Yes.
We have an infiltrator in the chat.
Is there someone being a celebrity or
Even worse? We have Krimlon.
Krimlon has gifted 5 Admiral Teag memberships. Way to go. Thank you, my friend. Krimlon, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, let's go see who got those memberships. We got memberships for Left Eye Ego. Welcome. Oiler Greg. William Shakespeare. Grandma of 9. Sorry, Grandma. As everyone can see, Admiral Teag, you can see
Grandma.
Grandma
Grandma
F9.
Grandma of 9. Until proven different. You can clarify for us and say hello, guys. You have access to all sorts of emojis now. Spam them. As you can see, Admiral Teag bobbing around, like I can see about as well as Christopher Lloyd's character in Buckaroo Banzai, who's like he was the only alien who still needed super thick glasses when he turned into an alien. Remember? It's like, fuck you, monkey boy. Anyway, wow, it turns out I can do a Christopher Lloyd imitation. All right, and also Deeple 101. Welcome aboard, Deeple. And thank you, Krimlon. Krimlon, you've got a pass if you want to beam on, although we're getting ready to wrap up the analysis of the opinions, but maybe you want to beam on backstage afterwards. Still waiting on the Krimlon emoji. That will be installed on Tuesday. Sean, do you still have the one you made? Can you just resend it to me? We'll plug that.
I made a
right
Krimlon one?
Well, that was like the first 3 emojis were Krimlon, sir, and something else that you came up with. I used one of them. It was
I'll have to look for. I'll have to see because I could recreate one. I'll do a new one.
Yeah, but you know what? Because we've learned a lot about the emojis before. The 1-by-1 1-to-1 scale, like it has to be a perfect square, and they're too small to put Krimlon on there twice because we couldn't fit all of DePaul.
Here we can use his favorite icon here though. There we go. Terra Prime
forever. You know what? We could use Terra Prime, but also because of this great gift, you know what? We don't get to use this to begin the show until I re-edit it. I'm kind of like emotionally haven't been able to leave the NX-01. It's still my ship. But you know what? Since Krimlon gave us a great gift, let's play this for everybody.
Incoming transmission.
Welcome to Saving Star Trek, a show talking about one of my favorite shows, Enterprise. I am Linda Park. I play Hoshi Sato and also Empress Sato. So enjoy this show. I love that it's finding a whole new life on the streaming services. And you better hit that like button or Empress Sato will not be happy. I mean, she could make a storm happen, and she could really make your life hard. Anyways, enjoy the show, hit that like button, and thank you for being a fan of Enterprise.
Thank you, Krimlon. Thank you, sir. All right, so as you can see, when they get to the surface of the planet, they have been fooled by the power of the Telosians' illusions, and the entire top of the knoll was sheared off. And thank you, Buddy Hepburn, for thanking Krimlon. And anybody who has some hype, give it to us now. We love the hype. We love the hype life. We love the boogie. We love the disco.
This was also colorized. I want to point that out. The original version again on this was black and white. So, and it actually is far more vibrant in your version around the metal that was sheared through. It's just very interesting for me to see some of the differences. And it was almost like they took artistic license rehabbing this.
I believe redid it for Strange New Worlds. I believe it's a 2018 on this one.
It's
2018
possible.
redo.
It does remind me, and I know that there's probably a lot of Doctor Who fans out there, of some of the attempts to resurrect some of the oldest Doctor Who that they didn't keep, and it was found on people's VHS recordings and in libraries and all kinds of random spots in terrible shape, and they've brought some of it back and some of it
Welcome, everybody. It's nice to see so many people showing up. Do me a favor, hit the like and follow. You've come at the perfect time as we finish the synopsis and our reactions. And I just want to say the head Telosian's got some badass bling. We love the we love her Beastie Boys pendant. We love the Metal Mash outfit. And don't be surprised if when you tune in next week, and we hope you'll come back, we'll all be dressed just like the Telosians. So the Telosians' head is pulsing. It's pretty cool. They're like, their methods of storing information are quite primitive, to which I say, that fax machine they have won't be invented for another 20 years. The hell are you talking about? But so it took a long time for us to read their primitive records. Are you ready to assimilate it? And the Telosian's head pulses. And this is when we get the first of a two-part shortcut. We shortcut and end it. And it was so stupid and so bad that we shortcut it and end it again. What happens is this. As they get to the surface, the Telosians are talking about their grand plans of repopulating the surface of the planet with a population of, shall we say, well-employed humans who will never have to look for work or worry about any job security. The Telosians want to be job providers, okay? That's
they
what they
want to be. The WEF. That's what they really want to be. The WEF.
Yeah,
they're going to tell everybody. They're going to tell everybody, you're going to have nothing, you're going to own nothing, and you're going to be happy.
And what's really weird about these guys is that once they assimilate it, they're being held hostage by Number One, who has solved Pike's problems for him, just like Strange New Worlds Pike. Strange New Worlds Pike gets bailed out by chicks. Number One overloads her phaser, something that Pike is also holding and is not smart enough to use constructively, because they're going to try to kidnap them all and repopulate the planet. And she goes, a population of our descendants in your bondage is not something I consent to. And it's overloading, and I'm going to buy something back. This phaser overload is much less grinding and horrible than the phaser overloads that we have in TOS. It also doesn't go on very long, and he calls it a force chamber explosion of their laser. And the Telosian is like, oh, wow, you are violent. And to which I say, and you guys aren't, you messed up weirdos. So as the Telosian is being disgusted by the violence, he gets absorbed the entire. Hold on a second. We just finished the plot synopsis. He gets the entire the entire human history beamed into his head by the other Telosians, and he goes, "Oh, wow! We just realized that you guys hate being kept in prison under horrible conditions and talked to like you're pieces of shit. This is unique in the galaxy. We didn't figure on your species' unique hatred of captivity." Do you really?
Yeah, like they're going to get Klingons or Andorians or Vulcans, and any of them are going to be any more amenable to this.
I won't have you speaking ill of the people who built Rurapente. You had a thought.
Telosian's been hanging with the Borg a little bit too much.
So that's how our episode ends, by the way. The Telosians just let them go. Okay. They just let them go. Okay. They just let them go. It's dumb. In my opinion.
That's true. What the Telosians could have done is pretended they let them go back to the ship, thinking they were on their ship, and then they could have just made up an entire universe for these people.
That is another thing that you just pointed out quite rightly that I didn't realize, is that this episode also suffers from what we have referred to many times as nexus stress. It's entirely possible their power of illusion is so strong, all Star Trek from here on could be a hallucination. This overpowered race and this bad story was locked in a box and not shown to anybody until it could be nerfed and cut down with our modern heroes that we like better, and suspend our disbelief and forget about how dumb it is and how overpowered they are for enough time They had to dilute this story. Showing it straight through showed an overpowered alien race that conveniently finds morality. These guys were like the guys who wore the stick swackers at Swish House. They were the worst. They were absolutely showing a pattern of force. They were horrible. And then, of course, we see that the beautiful woman is actually an ugly monster, which is a recurring sci-fi trope.
Oh, see,
but
Admiral?
the theologians get a moment of being shown as merciful. Take it away, JT.
I think maybe you're looking at this from a wrong perspective. I don't think they were screaming Yahtzee every time they got 5 of a kind. I think they might have been feeling a warmth of collectivism in their thought of mind. And once they couldn't be controlled with their mind and their spirit and used for their bodies anymore, they were simply let go to be free. And the show was just 25 years ahead of their time.
You're probably right.
This Gene was not a fan of the Reds, if you will.
No.
Okay,
and
yes.
And,
say
and
that.
given
I mean,
the fact that
yeah.
he was considered
are
a
a
baby
lot
and
of-
socialist, that's saying something.
Well, you know what? He believed in some social safety nets is more what I would say about Gene. He was in no way a commie or a socialist at all. Or I wouldn't be sitting here admiring his work the way I do. His cash-free society came from human innovation. They didn't not have an economy. It's just, who the hell needs money when you can tell your replicator 15 pounds of gold, please? They had an economy.
Ruby Hoove.
Ruby, hello. Good to see
Ruby
you.
gifted a membership.
Oh, Ruby, thank you so much. I want to thank you for gifting that membership. You've brought so many people into our family, and this is where it all pays off. Everyone's going to get to give their opinion. I thank you so much. You've been a channel member for such a long time. It's great to see you. I hope you're feeling well, and I hope you've been enjoying the show. If not, highly approachable and re-listenable. And you know what? I would now going to yield to my distinguished panel. Everyone's going to get a chance to give me. All right. I have trashed the story a little bit. I want to make something clear. It's an A+ in context of the sci-fi of the time, but the strengths of this episode, I will give my case last as always. We will have the panel go, then we will take it and look at the poll, and then we will get the Admiral's case, and then we'll finish up on Rumble, but we're pressed for time here on YouTube. But we're not done. Here we go. Best part of the show. Okay. Anybody feel a burning desire to go first? The question is this Star Trek? Is it good? Back up your take. Go first, Sean. Is it Star Trek? Is it good? Back up your take.
The episode is not Star Trek, but the story is. And the reason the story is Star Trek is because it was used later. So these things that we see happen in the cage did happen in the Star
Not
Trek
all of
canon. No, but the primary idea of the premise, the Telosians, the characters, and all that stuff, the synopsis of it holds. So the story, or very good percentage of the story, is Star Trek because we see it later. But the episode, no. I think is a proof of concept at most.
No, they were going to show this. I made sure I checked on this. Most of the
I know the intention was to air it, but the thing was it didn't get aired, and the studio treated it like a proof of concept because they said, we like what you did, make us another one and make these changes. So
you read that room from 60 years ago. That's what happened.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. By the way, this was the more noted show. This was the one where they had more. This was the one where they were giving him notes. This was the more noted. He had more creative freedom. They're like, you know what? The stuff we wanted, you're right. Your vision, but after the meeting, the conclusion was to give him more creative freedom. So it is they
did tie his hands in some way. There was a little give and take there because they made him get rid of number one, and they wanted Spock to be like a weird color or more alien because they thought he looked too much satanic, but he held his ground with that. So there
They
was some
changed
give and
Spock
take.
a little, though. They changed Spock a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit.
Well, like you said,
They're
they
for
merged
the
number
better.
one into him. You know, he took on the logical way, gained her rank. You know, he became
He
the
doesn't
first
have a
officer.
wig in this either. He just has regular hair.
Yeah, right. So yeah, there's my take.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you. That's a good take. And the cage is, by the way, just to address something
So it's not a shiitake.
A common criticism of this is that most of it is in the menagerie. Much less than half of this is in the menagerie because the episode is so long. They were able to. Now, did they cut like minutes of silence? There's minutes of silence in this, guys. There's like minutes of people just admiring the alien landscape. They told him like faster, more intensity. It had maybe John Meredith Lucas told him that. It's like my Uncle George says faster, more intensity. But thank you, Sean. JT, you get to go next. Is it good? Is it Star Trek? Back up your take.
Sure. Is it good? No, it's relatively mid, but as a pilot, as an experiment, there's a lot of wild ideas out there, and I can't hate on it too much. It's a rough cut, especially the version that I have. And if I saw this on TV, I would say no, it's not good. But you know what? A lot of pilots aren't great, aren't that good. We were impressed by Enterprise for having an amazing pilot that did what it did that no other Star Trek to date has done in their respective pilots, right? So the bar is not set too low or too high, rather, but I would still say it's relatively average to mid at best. And look, if it were actually going to go to TV, I think it would have gotten more attention in many areas to help clean it up and polish it. So realizing that it's some form of a draft, I'm still not going to say it's good. There's too many things that need to be fixed here, but it's a solid start. Is it Star Trek? No, I do not believe that it is full Star Trek. This is a draft. This is a collection of ideas. It's kind of a platter at a buffet of, if you will, of ideas from Gene. And you can't deny that piece. But coming from an IT world, I like to think of this as, if you're in the coding world, you're kind of writing your code, you test it out in what's like a lower environment, like a dev test environment. And that's what this is. But this is not production, a production application that would be released to the public. And so to that, I would say, you know, if you're testing some ideas on your favorite social media site, is it really that social media site? No, it's not the production version. So say what you will about whether it is or is not Trek by your own definition. I don't think others may be wrong if they think it is, but I consider this a draft and therefore not fully Star Trek, just the way that, you know, I'm sure a lot of Star Trek Phase 2 clips and tests and ideas are out there, but that doesn't make them Star Trek either. It just was thoughts and experiments that Gene might have had before, you know, Patrick Stewart and the rest came along. So there you are, sir. Oh, you're muted, Admiral, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I like to keep myself muted because sometimes I scream in anger when I watch New Trek. So it's become a habit. I also sometimes when I'm on panel shows, I'll just be like, someone will, like I this is my default panel face because I'll be muted and someone will say something completely insane. I was on one panel where someone said, "Lost in space, let June Lockhart be on Star Trek to be Spock's mom," and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you know, and then I unmuted. I'm like, I don't think that's true. And they insisted, and I'm like, all right, you know, that's like, but like, I'm like the Star Trek guy, so like I couldn't just sit there and let that one go by. Okay.
And Robert Meyer Burnett's wrong about everything. I'm kidding. I know
Very
that wasn't
possible.
him. That's not
possible.
I'm just kidding.
You know what? Let's go to Radioactive. Is it? Oh, you know what? Radioactive, was it good and was it Star Trek? Back up your take.
Yes and yes.
All right.
Why? because it set the foundations for what was going to come later. If you hadn't had this, you wouldn't have had Star Trek at all. Did it meet the criteria for a lot of the ideas? Yes, it did. It was probably the hardest sci-fi episode that Star Trek ever did outside of the technical continuity of TOS, and it was incorporated in the Menagerie. I don't think that if it had been a terrible episode that they would have even made the Menagerie. It was the thing is that people are so used to Kirk and the regular crew that they just can't get their heads wrapped around the fact that they could have had a different crew. It would have been an interesting take if had they done this, say, for a year and then had Pike leave. What would have happened with Star Trek had they had maybe a year with this other crew? But if you ask me, does it meet the criteria of other Trek? Let's see here. Was it optimistic? Well, this episode isn't maybe as optimistic as some of the ones that they've done before, but certainly more optimistic than, say, some of the worst episodes that you could call out of the original series. Did they have a diverse crew? Yes. Did they have actual, say, scientific concepts in it? Yes. Were they exploring? Yes. Did they have moral dilemma? Yes. Was it an exploratory show and not a war show? Yes. It was definitely not militaristic. It was an exploration show. Did they have contemporary issues reflected in the show? Yes. So and you look at it from the definitions of what most of the fandom looks at as the criteria for Star Trek. Yeah, it meets those criteria.
All right, Radioactive, great take. And now my good friend and co-host during the week, Resolute Germ. Is it good? Is it Star Trek? What's your take?
Well, it is pretty good, but not quite Star Trek. I'd say it's more proto Star Trek, say like a Neanderthal compared to a modern man. You got the building blocks there. It just needs that one more step to be the real thing.
I'm just imagining Gene wrapped in a bearskin, like painting like the ship on the cave wall. Keep going.
We're going to find that in 2,000 years, and they're going to be like, some caveman created faster than light travel. Like he saw it. He saw it.
Isn't that the plot of that stupid Prometheus fucking movie?
Yeah, I think it might have been.
So, Jared,
pretty close. As its own, it is a pretty good sci-fi story. As Radioactive said, it had all the elements for a good show. They're just missing one or two spots. I'm glad it got rejected so it could get fixed to get the show we actually saw.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I want to thank Vic. And whoever else is over there hanging with us. Keep going, Jeremy. So it's not Star Trek. It is pretty good. That's your take?
Right.
Anything else you want to add? Anything about us?
No, that's pretty much what I got.
All right, let's hear from our amazing audience. You guys, is the cage Star Trek? It is Star Trek. 69%. It's not even close. You blew it out of the water. 18% said it's not Star Trek. Like, stream, see results. 18%. You're all wonderful people. I really thank you deeply from the bottom of my heart for participating in our channel poll and our democracy. Well, in the hearts of all fans, it's Star Trek, but Admiral Teag's got his outlier crazy theory, and this is my feeling. Gene's not there yet. Also, it's not Star Trek because until you put William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and DeForest Kelley together in that show, you're not going to get anything but like a 3-year show. Like this would have been 3 years and done. It was William Shatner who made this a great show and his chemistry with Leonard Nimoy and DeForest Kelley. It was James Doohan who made this a great show. It was Nichelle Nichols who made this a great show. Majel Barrett would continue to help make it a great show in another role. pretty memorable anyway. Might have been a little too soon for this idea for the network. It is really good as far as the idea. It's so undercooked. There are so many problems, but it is so undercooked. We have something for the first 5 episodes of Star Trek TOS. They're mostly written just by Gene or by Gene and like one co-writer. This is something that Gene keeps going back to. He loves like space vampire-like creatures and godlike beings. Those are 2 things that Gene really loves to mess around with. If you could have a godlike space vampire like the Gilum, that's the ultimate Gene creation. So that's how Gene likes to do it.
Well, he did create Nagilum, didn't he?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the ultimate Gene creation. He's like sort of a space vampire, right? He has a vampiric quality because he sucks life out of people. But that guy with the greatest on-screen death ever, the meme. Okay. So listen, guys, we want to try to continue the conversation on Rumble if you want to join us there. But it's time to bring the YouTube part of this to an end. So the Admiral's opinion is the story is Star Trek. The seeds are there. If you do not interrupt it, it would have grown into Star Trek. It wouldn't have been the Star Trek we knew. It wouldn't have been as good. They needed to learn their lessons. Gene Roddenberry was very wise to listen to the people from Paramount. I'm sorry, not from Paramount, from Desilu about changing his show. And you know what? With that, I want to thank everybody who was here for tonight's show. You guys are awesome. And I want to thank Resolute Germ, Tim, FKHC, Mark Harkness, John the Beagle Dad, Lombardi, Kyle Cullen, the Trek Reviewer, Sci-Fi, Sith Dan, Wes Cagle, Scarif Podcast, Gunner, 1956, Gavin Unit, CTD 1880, Sagacious 6 was by, hello 6, M5 Tie-In, M5, you're great, I'm great, William Shake Spielberg, it's a Disclosure Day. How about Disposal Day? Kremlin, the Dead Man, Tetrarch of Apathy, RJ Godzilla, Phantom Outsider, Sean Carter, Buddy Hepburn, JT Kirk, Radioactive Actual, Sigvaldison, and RRTNZ. Look, we're going to finish up this conversation in greener pastures. I am going to do something very controversial. Here we go. You know what? We've been on here long enough. They're going to appreciate it. We're beaming out of here. You can follow us there. The link is in the chat. And, it's going to be less formal and we will finish up. But we really appreciate having you here for our show. Thank you for taking our 3-hour tour of the Final Frontier. I'm Admiral Teag. I love you all. You guys are the best. And I think maybe, Sean, have they earned Sydney Sweeney?
I think we should see some Sydney Sweeney, but do you want to quickly say what we're doing next week?
Next week is Where No Man Has Gone Before.
Yes, we're there next week, everyone. There's
no ambiguity anymore. And we're not going to be watching a pilot. We're just going to be watching the first episode they showed. But here she is, Sydney Sweeney, and we're going to Rumble.
Can I finish, please?
It always peaks during Sydney Sweeney. Way to go, Sean. I love you all. We're still on YouTube for the moment, but I'm going to cast off now. As I just say, thank you all very much. Hit the like and follow. We'll be back next week and watch my final Enterprise video about Terra Prime. Mark is in it a lot. It's pretty funny, I hope. And you know what? Bye, guys. And hello.
Hello?
There we go.